Nepal braces for torrential rain across multiple provinces, Met Department warns of downpours through Friday. PM Balendra Shah meets organic farmers and exporters, orders domestic certification to cut costs and expand exports. Nepal's oldest Tribhuvan University marks 67 years of academic legacy, achievements overshadowed by long-standing reform challenges. Devastating monsoon floods swamped northeast India, killing nearly 41 people. Pakistan also hit by heavy rain and floods. Ebola death toll tops 1,000 India. Congo outbreak remains critical as Uganda sees progress. And Nepal suffers second consecutive loss at Kava Championship. Sri Lanka edges Nepal in 5-set thriller. Good evening, I'm Sweksha Rajak and this is NTV World Primetime News. We are coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere, it's 13:15 in London, 22:15 in Tokyo, and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in details. Nepal's weather authorities have warned of heavy to very heavy rainfall across parts of the country over the next 2 days, raising the risk of floods and landslide. The Department of Hydrology and Meteorology said hilly and mountainous areas of Koshi, Bagmati, Gandaki and Karnali provinces are likely to receive the heaviest rainfall, urging residents living near rivers and landslide-prone areas to remain alert. The highest rainfall recorded in the past 24 hours was 97.2 millimeters in Sindhupalchok district, with significant rainfall also reported in Dolkha. Meanwhile, flood and landslide damage has forced the closure of 6 major road sections, while another 11 remain partially open. Road authorities said 33 previously blocked roads have already been reopened after repair work, with heavy machinery deployed to clear debris and restore transport links. Nepal says it has brought a recent outbreak of bird flu largely under control after no new infections were detected since July 17th. The virus had spread to 11 districts over the past 4 months, prompting authorities to declare affected areas and step up surveillance. Officials said the last confirmed case was reported in Kathmandu Sundarijal area, with follow-up testing in surrounding locations finding no further spread. While monitoring continues in the Kathmandu Valley and neighboring Kavre district, authorities say the risk of additional infections is now low. The outbreak had affected commercial poultry farms and raised concerns over the country's poultry industry. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has directed government agencies to establish a domestic certification system for organic agricultural products, a move aimed at lowering costs for producers and boosting the country's organic sector. Organic farmers and exporters have long relied on expensive international certification to access overseas markets. During a meeting with representatives of the Organic Association Nepal today, PM Shah also backed proposals to restore government subsidies for organic certification and increase support for compost production. The Prime Minister instructed authorities to tighten regulation of chemical fertilizers and pesticides while encouraging environmentally friendly farming practices. The government said it is also preparing legal measures to remove obstacles to grants for organic exports. A government task force has submitted an interim report recommending immediate and long-term measures to reduce crop damage caused by monkeys and other wild animals in Nepal. The report presented to Agriculture Minister Geeta Chaudhary calls for improved compensation for affected farmers, stronger legal and policy reforms, and scientific wildlife management. It also recommends fencing in vulnerable areas, promoting alternative crops, and increasing public awareness to help reduce human-wildlife conflict. The Ministry of Agriculture said it will prepare an action plan based on the report and treat the issue as a national priority because of its impact on farmers' livelihoods, agriculture production, and food security. We are going for a short break here. More news coming up. Do stay tuned with us. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World Primetime News. Nepal marked the 48th Memorial Day of Pushpalal Shrestha, the founder of Communist Party of Nepal, with separate commemorative events organized by major communist parties across the country. Leaders paid tribute to his role in establishing Nepal's communist movement and his contributions to political thought and organization. Pushpalal founded the Communist Party of Nepal in 1949 while in exile in Calcutta, India, and translated Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels' Communist Manifesto in Nepali. He is widely regarded as a key architect of Nepal's leftist movement. Pushpalal died in New Delhi while undergoing medical treatment. Nepal's oldest and largest higher education institution, Tribhuvan University, marked its 67th anniversary on Wednesday with a ceremony at its central office in Kirtipur. Education and Sports Minister and University Chancellor Sasmit Pokhrel hoisted the university's flag, while long-serving professors and staff were honored with long service medals. Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Bhola Thapa highlighted the university's recent progress and future plans, emphasizing excellence on education, research and innovation. Established in 1959, Tribhuvan University has 5 institutes, 4 faculties, 40 central departments, 64 constituent campuses, more than 1,000 affiliated campuses and 4 research centers. The TU currently serves around 500,000 students and employs more than 16,000 staff members. Country's first institution providing university education, the Tribhuvan University, is celebrating its 67th anniversary. While the university has made significant contribution not only to the country's education sector but also to its social, economic and administrative development, it has also been plagued by persistent problems, particularly due to political interference. Vijeta Bhandrai, along with Pramila Bhandari, brings this report.
Tribhuvan University, Nepal's oldest and largest university, has produced hundreds of thousands of skilled graduates. Despite its important role in the country's development, over the past 2 decades, the university has struggled with weak institutional performance, outdated teaching methodology, and uncertain research environment. The university has also faced criticism for failing to implement its academic calendar, adopt new technologies, update outdated curricula, and provide education that meets current market demands. Political interference has further raised questions about the university's credibility. Although successive chancellors and pro-chancellors have repeatedly pledged to transform the university into a center of excellence, those commitments have largely remained rhetorical. Despite ongoing problems with classes, examinations, and publication of results, Tribhuvan University still enrolls majority of all higher education students in Nepal. Considered one of the world's largest universities in terms of organizational structure and enrollment, the newly appointed Vice Chancellor says the institution is in urgent need of reform.
पाठ्यक्रमहरूलाई समय अनुकूल परिमार्जन गरेर बजारसँग सजिलै जोड्न सक्ने विश्व बजारमा आवश्यक भएको नयाँ ज्ञानहरूको सृजना गर्ने र यत्रो भौतिक संरचनाहरू छ, यो यति धेरै शिक्षक कर्मचारीहरू हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँहरूलाई अझ कसरी राम्रोसँग उहाँहरूको मनोबल बढाएर प्रयोग गर्ने भन्ने कार्यक्रमहरू र योजनाहरू अगाडि बढिरहेको छ।
Minister for Education and Sports Sasmit Pokhrel, who also serves as the university's pro-chancellor, said political interference in the university would be brought to an end.
यसभन्दा अघिसम्म विश्वविद्यालयमा हुने राजनीतिकरण पूर्ण रूपमा हामीले अबको 4 वर्षमा अन्त्य गर्नेछौँ। भागभण्डाको राजनीति होइन, मेरिटोक्रेसीको आधारमा विश्वविद्यालयको टिम अब निर्माण हुनेछ। हामीले उपकुलपतिज्यूलाई पनि भनेका छौँ। अब कहिले पनि राजनीतिक रूपबाट कुनै पनि पोलिटिकल इन्टरभेन्सन कहिले पनि हुँदैन। हामीले राजनीतिक रूपबाट कसैलाई कहाँ राख्ने, कसैलाई के गर्नुपर्ने, कतै सरुवा गर्नुपर्ने, कतै बढुवा गर्नुपर्ने, कतै नियुक्ति गर्नुपर्ने, त्यो कहिले पनि राजनीतिक रूपबाट युनिभर्सिटीमा त्यो दबाब कहिले पनि आउँदैन।
Every new university leadership has introduced ambitious plans for reform. However, effective implementation depends on the cooperation of professors, staff, and students. In a university where protest, office lockouts, and vandalism have often erupted when appointments do not favor particular groups, it remains to be seen how the new leadership will deliver meaningful reform.
Nepal's home passport delivery service has been expanded to all 7 local governments in eastern Nepal's Thonkuta district. The service has improved access to public service for residents. Operated by the Postal Service Department, the initiative allows citizens to receive passports at the doorstep, eliminating repeated trips to government offices. Since its launch in early May, 166 passports have been delivered directly to recipients. Officials say the service has reduced travel time and cost, particularly for people applying for passports for foreign employment and education. Houses built entirely by mud, stones and timber are slowly becoming part of history, even in villages now. The structures that not only reflected their local ethnic art and culture, but also preserved the environment are slowly being replaced by steel and concrete. Be the renewed consciousness after 2015 earthquake or desire to be modern, the need to preserve the traditional houses is being felt in the central hilly districts of Syangja. Subcast Shrestha with our correspondent Himal Nepali.
Built entirely by mud, stones and timber and adorned with intricately carved balconies and traditional designs were very common in villages of Nepal's central hilly district of Syangja. Nestled amid green hills, these homes vividly reflected rural Nepali life and the local indigenous culture. However, times have changed. The growing preference of modern concrete buildings over these traditional structures has pushed this artistic heritage to the brink of extinction.
सुरक्षित हुने आशा गरेका छौं त्यसपछि भूकम्प आएको छैन अब भत्किन्न होला भन्ने हामीलाई आशा छ एकदम यस्तो बलियो बनाएर बस्दा पुरानै घरलाई मोडिफाई गरेर बस्दा राम्रो हुन्छ.
On one hand, there is a shortage of skilled artisans capable of carving traditional structures and constructing houses in all architectural styles. On the other hand, public concern over safety increased significantly after the devastating 2015 earthquake. Believing reinforced concrete structures to be more earthquake resistant, local residents have gradually abandoned stone and mud houses in favor of cement and steel pillar constructions.
ती असर देखिएको कारण चाहिँ अब यता पनि बिस्तारै चाहिँ भूकम्पबाट सुरक्षित हुने त्यो आगो लागि लगायत अन्य जोखिमबाट चाहिँ बच्नका लागि चाहिँ यी घरहरू बनेका हुन्. अहिलेको चाहिँ यो समय सापेक्ष माग पनि हो.
Experts say houses built with stone and mud are environmentally friendly and beneficial for health. Such homes naturally regulate temperature, keeping interiors warm in winter and cool during the rainy and summer seasons. They stress that the government should introduce clear policies and standards that preserve traditional Nepali architecture while incorporating modern earthquake-resistant technologies. As time changes, the desire for safer housing is natural. However, there is an urgent need for local governments and authorities concerned to formulate policies that protect traditional architecture while ensuring safe and sustainable housing development. With district correspondent Himal Nepali, Sabika Shrestha, NTV World.
Time again for a short breather. We shall be back with international updates. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World and this is Primetime News. Torrential monsoon rain have triggered devastating floods in India's northeastern state of Assam, killing at least 41 people and affecting around 900,000 residents, officials said. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma described the disaster as unprecedented, saying exceptionally heavy rainfall and upstream cloud bursts had inundated more than 1,800 villages. Rescue teams, including the Indian Air Force and National Disaster Response Forces, are continuing relief operations with nearly 30,000 people sheltering in around 150 relief camps. Authorities have also deployed drones and small boats to deliver aid to isolated communities cut off flood waters. Scientists say climate change and rapid urbanization are making monsoon-related floods and other extreme weather events across South Asia more frequent and severe. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, torrential monsoon rains have triggered severe flooding in Pakistan's eastern city of Lahore, inundating thousands of homes and disrupting daily life for millions of residents. Emergency authorities said the heavy rainfall caused widespread damage, with large parts of the country's second-largest city left underwater. Officials have issued fresh monsoon weather warnings as rescue and drainage operations continue in affected areas. Residents described it as the worst flooding of the season and urged authorities to quickly clear floodwaters and restore essential services. The death toll from the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and neighboring Uganda has surpassed 1,000 according to health authorities. The outbreak caused by Bundibugyo strain of the virus has infected nearly 2,500 people in the DRC and prompted the World Health Organization to declare it a public health emergency in international concern. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the outbreak has become the third largest Ebola epidemic on record and is spreading faster than previous outbreaks, while Uganda has discharged its last confirmed Ebola patient and began the required 42-day countdown to declare the outbreak over. The DRC continues to report new infections and hundreds of patients remain under treatment. Firefighters have stabilized one of Spain's largest wildfires in decades after the blaze scorched more than 35,000 hectares in the central province of Guadalajara. Authorities say thousands of residents have been allowed to return home, although evacuation and confinement orders remain in place for dozens of communities as strong winds threaten to reignite the fire. Spain is simultaneously battling severe other wildfires as a prolonged heat wave pushes temperatures above 42 degrees Celsius across the parts of the country. The European Union's Copernicus Monitoring Service estimates more than 123,000 hectares have burned in Spain so far this year, 4 times the area destroyed during the same period last year. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has called for a national pact to address the climate emergency, warning that increasingly frequent and intense wildfires underscore the growing impact of climate change. More international news and sports update coming up next. For now, a short breather. Protests in India's capital have intensified over alleged examination paper leaks, with demonstrators expanding their demands to include the resignation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. The movement, which began over exam irregularities, has broadened to highlight concerns about unemployment opportunities for young people and government accountability. In response, Modi pledged stringent punishment for those involved in leaking exam papers and announced plans to establish fast-track courts to prosecute offenders. He said protecting the future of India's youth was a top priority, but did not address calls for the education minister's resignation. Protest organizers have vowed to continue demonstrations until their demands for reforms and accountability are met. India and China have pledged to strengthen bilateral ties and expand cooperation on regional and global issues during talks between their top diplomats in the Philippines. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi called a closer coordination in areas including trade, culture exchanges and the BRICS grouping, saying the world's two most populous nations should work together to promote a multipolar international order. Wang also said Beijing would support India's presidency of this year's BRICS summit. Indian External Affairs Minister Subramanyam Jaishankar reaffirmed New Delhi's respect for China's sovereignty and said India remains committed to a stable and forward-looking relationship. The meeting comes as both Asian powers seek to stabilize ties following years of broader tensions and deepen engagement through multilateral forums. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov have urged the United States to halt what he called unacceptable arms supplies to Ukraine during talks with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of a Southeast Asian summit in Manila. Rubio said there had been no change in Washington's policy of supporting Ukraine through weapons purchased by NATO allies, while reiterating that the United States wants a negotiated end to the war. Lavrov said Moscow remains open to political and diplomatic resolution of the conflict despite continued fighting on the battlefield. The meeting came as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he had held talks with senior U.S. envoys to revive stalled peace efforts. The two diplomats also discussed the conflict in the Middle East, where Russia has criticized recent U.S. strikes targeting its ally Iran. Now, Iraqi Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi has met Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian in Tehran, days after concluding his first office visit to the United States. The back-to-back visits underscore Baghdad's efforts to balance relations with its two key partners, Washington and Tehran. Al-Zaidi's U.S. trip resulted in a series of investment agreements and energy deals, while his visit to Iran is expected to focus on regional security and economic cooperation. The diplomatic engagements come as Iraq seeks to strengthen its strategic ties with both countries. Time now for the sports update. Nepal has been defeated by Sri Lanka today's match of the Men's Central Asian Volleyball Association Kava Championship. This is Nepal's second consecutive drubbing in the tournament. In the first game yesterday, Nepal was defeated by Kazakhstan in sets of 3-2. In a match held today at the Liaquat Gymnasium in Islamabad, Pakistan, Nepal was defeated by Sri Lanka 3-2 in sets. Sri Lanka won the first set 25-18. Then Nepal took the next two sets, winning the second set 25-21 and the third set 25-19. Sri Lanka grabbed the fourth set 25-21. In the final set, Sri Lanka also won 15-11 to win the match. Nepal will now play their third match on Friday against the host, Pakistan. After the single round-robin league, the top four teams will enter the semi-finals. The tournament includes the host Pakistan along with Nepal, Kazakhstan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Uzbekistan. Nepal has set a target of 158 runs for the host Netherlands after being bowled out for 157 runs in the ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 Tri-Series match in Utrecht. Nepal, who lost the toss and were sent to bat, struggled to build a strong total against the Dutch bowling attack. The Netherlands now need 158 runs to secure victory and strengthen its position in the League 2 standings. Nepal entered the match looking for a comeback after suffering an 8-wicket defeat against Namibia in their previous game. The 7th Vovinam Vedvoda World Championship has opened in Paris, bringing together nearly 500 athletes, coaches and martial arts masters from 20 countries. The 4-day tournament celebrates Vietnam's traditional martial art while showcasing international competition across multiple disciplines. In addition to the championship, participants are taking part in coaching courses, grading examinations, belt promotions and cultural exchange activities. Organizers say the event aims to strengthen international cooperation, harmonize technical standards and further expand the global Vovinam community. With this, we come to the end of this edition, but before we wrap up, a quick reminder of headlines. Nepal braces for torrential rain across multiple provinces met Department warns of downpours through Friday. PM Balendra Shah meets organic farmers and exporters, orders domestic certification to cut costs and expand exports. Nepal's oldest Tribhuvan University marks 67 years of academic legacy, achievements overshadowed by long-standing reform challenges. Devastating monsoon floods swamped northeast India, killing nearly 41 people. Pakistan also hit by heavy rain and floods. Ebola death toll tops 1,000. India-Congo outbreak remains critical as Uganda sees progress. And Nepal suffers consecutive loss at Kava Championship. Sri Lanka edges Nepal in 5-set thriller. That's it for this edition of Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. I'm Suveksha Rajak, and do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World. Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Hom Bahadur Tamang, a gifted Thanka artist from the spiritual heart of Buddha, has turned his craft into a global bridge between tradition and business.
थाङ्का चाहिँ मैले 1976 मा सुरुवात गरेको। मेरो टिचर चाहिँ म भन्दा अघिल्लो मेरो दाइ हो, साइला दाइ। मेरो चाहिँ बाउपादेखि नै कलाकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो। पाटन, भक्तपुर, छामेल, दरबार स्क्वायरमा यसै पसल बेच्ने काम हुन्थ्यो। अनि त्यो बेच्दा मैले यो थाङ्का चाहिँ विदेशीले किन्दा रहेछ, आफैले विदेशसँग बेच्नुपर्छ भन्ने अलिकति मनमा मलाई अलिकति सोच आयो। त्यसपछि मैले 2050 सालमा यहाँ सुरु गरेँ, आजभन्दा 32 वर्ष अगाडि।
What began as a young artist's journey through the streets of Kathmandu has blossomed into a thriving enterprise where sacred art meets business and tourism. With every brushstroke, Hom brings Nepal's rich spiritual heritage to the world, transforming Thanka painting into a symbol of cultural fusion.
त्यो बेला चाहिँ पसल कोही पनि यहाँ थिएन, किनभने त्यो मार्केटले चाहिँ कहाँ मार्केट हुन्छ भन्ने खोज्दो रहेछ। त्यो खोज्ने क्रममा म यहाँ आइपुग्यो। विदेशीहरू पनि यहाँ त्यति अहिले जस्तो बस्दैन, 5 मिनेट 10 मिनेटमा घुमेर जानुहुन्थ्यो। त्यतिखेर खाने रेस्टुरेन्ट पनि एकजना मात्रै थियो, एउटा मात्रै थियो। अहिले चाहिँ होस् त्यो बेला र अहिलेमा धेरै आकाश जमिनको फरक भएको छ।
His story is one of passion, innovation, and a deep commitment to preserving tradition while embracing the future.
विशेष गरी यो बौद्ध स्तूपसँग रिलेटेड छ। यो बुद्धको शिक्षासँग रिलेटेड यो थाङ्का चाहिँ संसारको मानिसहरू यो स्तूपलाई घुम्ने क्रममा यो प्रार्थना गर्ने मेन आउने ठाउँ चाहिँ यो रहेछ। त्यसो भएको हुनाले यो चाहिँ विशेष गरी ओल्ड हेरिटेज साइटमा चाहिँ त्यो पनि के हो बुद्धिस्टको भएको हुनाले चाहिँ नेपालभरि कुनै थाङ्का बिक्ने ठाउँ चाहिँ अति महत्त्वपूर्ण चाहिँ यो नै हो वास्तवमा, किनभने रिलेटेड छ यो बुद्धसँग।
From the hills of Ramechhap to the heart of Buddha, Hom Bahadur Damang has a glorious story to tell. A story of will, determination, struggle, and success.
म आफै पनि रामछाप दुर्गम जिल्लामा जन्मेको चाहिँ रोजगार छैन, त्यहाँ स्कुल छैन, कलेज छैन, हस्पिटल छैन, रोजगार छैन। त्यसपछि म पनि रोजगारकै क्रममा यहाँ आएर मैले सुरुवात गर्यो। अहिले चाहिँ म लगभग 49 वर्ष भयो यही पेसा गरेर दाल भात खाएको। अब नयाँ पुस्तालाई पनि मैले हस्तान्तरण गर्नुपर्छ है भन्ने मेरो एउटा उद्देश्यले चाहिँ अहिले मैले नयाँ पुस्तालाई चाहिँ गाउँबाट आउनुहुन्छ, स्कुल सकेर अनि बिहान चाहिँ कलेज जानुहुन्छ, दिउँसो काम छैन। त्यस कारणले मैले 3 महिना फ्री ट्रेनिङ दिने गरेको छ। उहाँको स्किल अन्त टेस्ट गरेर हामीले यहीँ तलब दिएर जस्तो बिहान कलेज पनि भ्यायो उसको कति हो त्यसो त्यहाँबाट एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिँ 5 घण्टा 6 घण्टा 7 घण्टा मैले पनि यहाँ जीवन चलाउने चाहिँ काम भइरहेको छ अहिले।
For 49 years, he painted, taught, and empowered young artisans. Today, his school preserves tradition and creates futures.
हामीले यहाँ सुरुमा इन्टरभ्यू लिन्छु, त्यसपछि 1 हप्ता चाहिँ नै सानो र क्यानभासमा हात ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु, त्यसको शरीरको बडीहरू अलिकति ट्रेनिङ दिन्छु, अनि 1 हप्तापछि ओके भनेर ओके या यस भने कोही मानिस नसक्ने चाहिँ नि आधा घण्टामा 1 घण्टामा उठेर गइहाल्छ। म सक्दैन, ढाड दुख्यो, किन उसको मन धेरै भएर गयो, त्यो सक्दैन, ऊ आउँदैन, एक दिन पनि आउँदैन। मात्रै आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो। हामीले अपाङ्गलाई पनि सिकाएको छ, जस्तो बाहिर कान नसुन्ने पनि सिकाएको छ, आँखा चाहिँ हुनु पर्यो, त्यस्तै हो।
As interest in Buddhism grows worldwide, so does the appreciation for our sacred art. Foreigners now come not just to admire but to learn, studying our architecture techniques and meditative Thanka traditions, giving new life to what was once known only within our borders.
बुद्धिज्म नेपाल हो। नेपालमा जति छन् विश्व सम्पदामा सूचीमा भएको मठ मन्दिर गुम्बद छ, यसैबाट उहाँले पनि सिकेको वास्तवमा। यो जुन बौद्ध स्तूपबाट भनौँ लुम्बिनी त्यो जस्तो उहाँहरूले बनाउन सक्दैन, तर यसको चाहिँ एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण के छ भगवान या चाहिँ दोस्रो तेस्रो बुद्धको रिलेटिभ यहाँ छ। जति चाहिँ अहिले संसारमा यो बुद्धिज्म फैलिँदै जान्छ, यो महायान बुद्धिज्म त्यत्तिकै ठाउँको भ्यालु चाहिँ बढ्दैछ अहिले। जस्तो मेरै कुराहरू मैले 40-45 वर्ष यति ठाउँको म त थिएन किनभने वर्ल्ड वाइडमा बुद्धिज्ममा थिएन विदेशहरूले जानेकै थिएन उनीहरूले त्यो सुरसुर आउँदाखेरि सानो तिनी एउटा नेपाल आउँदाखेरि सुपर किन नलैजाऊ भन्ने मान्दै लाग्थ्यो अहिले चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ जस्तो अमेरिका युरोप तपाईको यो सिङ्गापुर ताइवान मलेसिया विभिन्न देशमा चाहिँ अहिले बुद्धिस्ट प्र्याक्टिसनर धेरै उहाँहरू चाहिँ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण छ त्यसकारणले भविष्यमा यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ छ यसको मार्केट छ
As an artist, entrepreneur and a master, he feels fulfilled, creating beauty, guiding others and living with purpose.
मैले संसार जीवन जगतलाई थाहा पायो अहिले हामी सांसारिक जीवन छ सांसारिक जीवनमा कसरी जिउने र अर्कोलाई पनि कसरी जिउन दिने कला थाहा पायो त्यसपछि अब जुन देशमा जन्मे पनि जुन कुलमा जन्मे पनि 100% निश्चित के हो भने मृत्यु छ त्यो त निश्चित हो नि एउटै निश्चित छैन कहिले पनि निश्चित छैन तर त्यो मर्नेमा म कसरी मर्ने भन्ने कला पनि थाहा पाएँ मलाई त धेरै परिवर्तन भएको छ मैले परिवर्तन भयो भने के हुन्छ मैले ठुलो पतेरो चढ्यो ठुलो गाडी त्यस्तो होइन तर मलाई खुसी छ सादा दाल भात खान पाएछ मैले परिवार पाल्नु पाएछ यही ठाङ्गाले म जापान घुम्यो युरोप गयो चाइना घुम्यो बुद्धिस्ट कन्ट्री सबै घुमेको छ सबै ठाउँमा मैले घुम्नलाई मलाई पैसाको आपत पनि परेन ठाङ्गा सँगसँगै लान्दै ब्रिफिङ गर्दै बेच्दै दर्शन बेचेको हो त्यसकारण मलाई त एकदम खुसी छु म त पनि
Inside the quiet courtyard of Baber Mahal, colors seem to breathe on their own. This is Siddharth Art Gallery, home to some of Nepal's most defining contemporary art movements. Today, the gallery opens its doors to Mithila Cosmos, a universe imagined through the brush of artist S.C. Suman, a name inseparable from the evolution of gallery space.
म आफ्नो बच्चैदेखि हजुरआमालाई हेर्दै थिएँ यो भित्तामा उहाँ कोर्नुहुन्थ्यो अब भित्तामा कोर्दै जाँदाखेरि उहाँलाई हेर्दै आएँ र त्यसपछि म बच्चै बालकालदेखि नै स्कुल जाँदा अनि फुलहरू हेर्दा मलाई हजुरआमाले पेन्टिङ गर्नुहुन्छ त्यसमा रङ बनाउनुहुन्छ भनेर म उहाँको लागि बाटोमा खसेका फुलहरू ल्याएर उहाँलाई दिन्थेँ र म उहाँलाई भन्थेँ कि ल यसबाट पनि रङ बनाउनुहोस् यसबाट पनि पेन्टिङ गर्नुहोस् अनि यो कुरा मलाई एकदम सहजै प्र्याक्टिसमा आएको जस्तो लाग्यो र उहाँको पछि उहाँ भित्ताहरू रङाउँदाखेरि पेन्टिङहरू गर्दाखेरि म उहाँलाई छोडेर कतै जाँदैनथेँ र मलाई पनि काम गर्न दिनुहोस् भनेर उहाँ कहिलेकाहीँ दिक पनि मान्नुहुन्थ्यो कति मलाई माने यो डिस्टर्ब गरेको तिमी जाऊ खेल भनेर त्यही पनि म उहाँसँग बस्थेँ अब उहाँले त्यही पनि उहाँको म बसिरहन्थेँ उहाँले चाहिँ साइडमा कुनै कुनामा एउटा सानो चित्र बनाइदिनुहुन्थ्यो र यसमा तिमी रङ भर भन्नुहुन्थ्यो अनि म छिटो रङ भर्थेँ अनि उहाँले आश्चर्य भन्नुहुन्थ्यो हेर कति मभन्दा पनि राम्रो रङ भर्दो रहेछ भनेर अनि यसरी मलाई चाहिँ मिथिला पेन्टिङले नजिक ल्यायो र म त्यो फेरि त्यो गर्न थालेँ.
What we see today is not just an exhibition, it is a lived memory of culture, philosophy and the changing world around us.
यसरी प्रत्येक घटनासँग जोडिँदै आएर एक्जिबिसन आएको हो। 2021 मा मिथिला कस्मस द साइकल अफ टाइम आयो, त्यसपछि त्यो 22 मा सक्यो, 22 को जनवरीमा सक्यो। त्यसपछि अहिले आएर यो 25 मा यो एक्जिबिसन आयो। त्यो बीचको जुन अब फेरि यसलाई कसरी जोड्ने त, अब जस्तो कि नेपाल एकाडेमी अफ फाइन आर्ट्समा म काउन्सिल मेम्बर हुँदाखेरि मैले आफ्नो देशको लोककलाहरूलाई हेर्न पाएँ। म लोककला विभाग प्रमुख थिएँ हैन। अनि त्यो हेर्दै जाँदाखेरि म पूर्वदेखि पश्चिमसम्म, उत्तरदेखि दक्षिणसम्मका त्यो जिल्लाहरू भ्रमण गरेँ। आफ्ना हाम्रा लोककलाहरूलाई हेरेँ। हाम्रो भनिन्छ हाम्रो देशमा 123 126 वटा भाषा बोलिन्छ, त्यसका आफ्ना संस्कृति छन्, आफ्ना चाहिँ रीतिथिति छन्, त्यसभित्रका कलाहरू मैले हेर्न पाएँ। र त्यो सबैले लाई जोड्दै जाँदाखेरि एउटा आर्टिस्टले कसरी त्यो प्रभावित पार्दो रहेछ र त्यो स्टुडियोमा काम गर्दाखेरि त्यो एलिमेन्टहरू हेर्नु र त्यो एलिमेन्टलाई आफ्नो पेन्टिङमा चाहिँ समावेश गर्नु, यो सहज रूपमा त्यो हुँदै जान्छ। र यो सो ल्याउँदाखेरि चाहिँ तलको तल्लामा हामी चाहिँ हेर्छौँ क्यानभास वर्कहरू छ, त्यसमा देवी कथा छन्, गीताका सार छन्, जीवनका त्यो कथाहरू छन्। र त्यसमाथिमा आउँदाखेरि उपत्यकाका कथा छन्, त्यसपछि जनकपुरको रामायण र अयोध्याको कथाहरू छ, रामायणसँग जोडिएको कथा छ, त्यसपछि बौद्ध कथाहरू आएका छन्। त्यो सिरिजहरूलाई कसरी एक ठाउँमा हामी कसरी विभिन्न जाति समुदायहरू एउटा साझा फुलबाडी हो, त्यसभित्रका संस्कृतिका कुराहरू, त्यसभित्रका कुराहरू मैले ल्याउँदाखेरि मलाई त्यो आफैसँग आफूलाई परिचय गराउनु जस्तो र त्यो मैले कलाको माध्यमबाट बुझेर म यो कुरालाई म आफ्ना नयाँ पुस्ताहरूसम्म पनि यो चाहिँ यसरी हो हाम्रो देश, यो मिथिला पेन्टिङ भनेको एउटा समुदाय क्षेत्र समुदायको विशेषको पेन्टिङ होइन, यो नेपाली आर्ट हो। यदि मिथिला पेन्टिङको नेपाली कलाको कुरा गऱ्यो भने मिथिला पेन्टिङलाई छोडेर त्यो नेपाली आर्ट पुरा हुँदैन भनेर मेरो बुझाइमा मैले यसरी यो एक्जिबिसनले ल्याएको।
Mithila art carries centuries of tradition from Janakpur, from mythological narratives and wedding symbols to intricate floral motifs that speak of life, devotion, and identity. The power of Mithila painting lies in its detail. Every line, every border, every color has a purpose.
के हुन्छ कलाकारले जब घुम्छ ऊ चाहिँ ट्राभल गर्छ, चाहे त्यो देश विदेशको यात्रा होस्, चाहे आफ्नो विषयवस्तु खोजी हिँड्छ, र उसले अनुकरण गर्ने क्षमता मलाई लाग्छ उसँग धेरै हुन्छ। उसको दिमागमा त्यो कुराहरू आइरहेको हुन्छ क्या, त्यो आइरहेको र त्यो कतै न कतै कुनामा बसिरहेको हुन्छ। अब जब स्टुडियोमा बिस्तारै काम गर्दै जाँदाखेरि एउटा आर्टवर्कसँग करिब करिब 1 सप्ताह उसले बिताउँछ, चाहे 15 दिनसम्म बिताउँछ त्यो विषयवस्तु र त्यसका त्यो फ्रेम अब्जेक्टहरूमा बिताउँछ। र त्यसपछि त्यसको दिमाग त खाली हुँदैन, ऊ सोचिरहन्छ र सोचेर त्यो बिताएका क्षणहरूमा उसले चाहिँ आफ्नो कलाहरूमा त्यसलाई चाहिँ प्रस्कृत गर्दै जान्छ र त्यो अनुभव बटुलेका चिजहरूलाई उसले चाहिँ त्यतिखेर सम्झँदै उसले चाहिँ केही सम्झना आउँछ र केही नयाँ चिज ल्याउँछ। पहिलो एक्जिबिसनहरू गर्दाखेरि त्यो छडिएको हुन्थ्यो, जस्तो विभिन्न पेन्टिङहरूलाई ल्याएर एकै ठाउँमा गएर त्यसमा एक्जिबिसन गरिएको जस्तो हुन्थ्यो। त्यसपछि के भयो भने मेरो पहिलो मिथिला सोलो एक्जिबिसनको टाइटल पनि म्याथली आर्ट थियो। त्यसपछि म्याथली आर्ट लिभिङ ट्रेडिसन भनेर आयो। त्यसरी जबसम्म त्यो म्याच्योर हुँदै जान्छ कलाकारले 1-2 स्टेपहरू हुन्छन् त्यो एक्जिबिसनहरूको, त्यसले अनुभव पनि बटुल्छ र बटुल्दै जाँदाखेरि भ्युअर्सहरूसँग भेट्छ, जर्नलिस्टहरू भेट्छ, क्रिटिक्सहरूसँग भेट्दै जाँदाखेरि त्यसको निखार आउँदै जान्छ, साधनाको निखार आउँदै जान्छ र त्यो चाहिँ विषयवस्तुसँग जोडिँदै जान्छ र आज आएर यो फ्रेममा चाहिँ हामी हेर्न पाउँछौँ।
Art becomes complete only when someone responds to it. In this gallery, every viewer sees something different. A memory, a symbol, a question, a reminder. What do the visitors find in this universe of Mithila?
Well, as an academician, I feel that Mithila painting is like a healing process to people. And this exhibition has expressed itself in a very beautiful way, expressing each and every motive which is present over here related to not only mythology, but also related to emotions of the people. And it is like a story work over here. The entire journey of Mithila has been depicted over here, which speaks volumes not only about the artist but also about each and every object which has been portrayed over here.
Walking through these halls feels like traveling between timelines. The ancient and the modern coexist. Tradition is not frozen in the past. It evolves through those who carry it forward.
We feel like connected to Sumanji's works because he takes approach that's quite respectful, quite engaging and contemplative, and someone who speaks with contemplation, someone who prefers to remain in a discipline and work from the frame of that discipline. He had chosen the Mithila paintings framework, and he remains in that framework, and he stretches, expands the framework, and develops narrative power, descriptive power, that communicative power with that frame, and that's something amazing.
It may appear abstract at first glance, but spend a moment longer and stories begin to unfold of gods and goddesses, rituals and seasons, and the subtle emotions of everyday life. And within this rich visual grammar, Suman adds his own world, shaped by places he has lived, moments he has witnessed, and the history that surrounds him.
He was among the first generation artists of Mithila art. When he started his career from the kind of humble background he was in, with that financial background, very few people could actually make art and Mithila art in particular their primary career. So that is what separates him from other artists in that regard. However, I will also admit that a lot of other artists have also put in their contribution in the upliftment of Mithila art, and Mithila art has grown due to the collective effort of a lot of people.
From Vivaha Panchami in Janakpur to the lotus of Bodhanath, from the cosmic churn of Samudra Manthan to the silence of COVID lockdowns, Suman brings time onto canvas. His lines become memory, his colors become testimony.
Yeah, there are many favorites, you can see that. If you see that there are, each painting says some story. Like this is if you see this, here the wedding, Sita, Mata Sita wedding with the Ram. There is a procession going on. And every painting you will see that there are the nature. The S.C. Suman painting is the nature he captures very nicely. The color combination, you will find very rare artists. That type of eye-catching is that one. Many things are within the one paintings.
Mithila Cosmos reminds us that art is not only what we see, it is what we feel, return to, and carry within ourselves.
I have grown in a Mithila household. I've been very closely connected to the Mithila culture. I have been seeing Mr. Suman's exhibitions since a long time, and this is one of the third or fourth exhibition of his that I've been attending. So yeah, that I obviously know about what kind of paintings he does and what time does he conducts his exhibitions. So this is exactly how I found that he was gonna do an exhibition this year as well.
Has a similar sort of providing blessing sort of artwork in the form of like a lakudwa, which like exists in a door frame. So what he's done in that specific piece is behind a lakudwa is a cobra painting, so like a wedding specific painting. So he's combined these two cultures as part of his, and it's part of his own narrative because he moved from Janakpur to Nepal, so that's what he was trying to convey, the mixing of these two cultures. So yeah, I think the mixing and, you know, like venturing out of your own home place, which is very common these days, and traveling and seeing the world, I think that's, I think the contemporary connection.
Behind every exhibition is a vision that guides how artworks converse with space and audience. Curator Sangeeta Thapa has been a key voice in shaping Nepal's modern and contemporary art landscape.
His first exhibition, Mithila Cosmos, began in 2007, and what we have been seeing is that he is really celebrating the art forms of the Mithila world, along with the myths and legends of the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and this is something that we see all throughout the different editions of the Mithila Cosmos journey that he has with the Siddharth Art Gallery. This is his 7th show, and we decided to call it Journey of a Pilgrim because the piety in the exhibition is very apparent, and his knowledge of the Ramayana or the Mahabharata, the myths and legends that we have grown up listening to and learning about, become central to his work. But Sumanji is also talking not only about Mithila art, he's from the Tarai, so he brings in elements from Tharu, Dusad, Salish, different forms of art form from indigenous communities in the Tarai, and he amalgamates it and he really makes it his own. Perhaps the most significant work in this show is called Samudra Manthan, and this is a story which has been visually narrated by so many artists, from Raja Ravi Varma to early 19th century engravings, but he has even amalgamated a Hakusai wave into this art form. So that is a really famous painting, The Wave, and you can see that influence has permeated his wave, his painting. Sumanjiko themes are not only religious. So whether it is the eco-anxiety that we all feel at present, the destruction of Nizgar forest or the Chure hills, he amalgamates all of that. During COVID, he had a specific work which he, asked the question, why were bats blamed for spreading COVID in the world? I mean, was the virus man-made? His belief in nature, the natural cosmology of the world, is something that you will see over and over again in his paintings.
As visitors step out, the colors remain. In imagination, in reflection, and perhaps in rediscovering where heritage meets the present.
When it's a sunny day and the rain is pouring down, when it's a sunny day and the rain is pouring down, the fox's fiance puts on her wedding gown. The fox's fiance puts on her wedding gown. When it's a sunny day and the rain is pouring down, when it's a sunny day and the rain is pouring down, it's time for the fox to tie all his locks. It's time for the fox to tie all his locks. And get hitched with Miss Fox, and get hitched with Miss Fox. Together with his sweetheart, he sits in a golden cart. Together with his sweetheart, he sits in a golden cart. And a big lizard dressed like a wizard becomes a priest. And he says, the two of you shall not part. The two of you shall not part. The elephant trumpets and the deer drums. The raccoons shake their rattles. And his guitar, the tiger's drums. And his guitar, the tiger's drums. it's time for the fox to tie all his locks. It's time for the fox to tie all his locks and get hitched with Miss Fox. And get hitched with Miss Fox.
नमो हिरण्यबाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपतये अम्बिकापतये उमापतये पशुपतये नमो नमः।
Every year, approximately 1.19 million people lose their lives in road traffic crashes. 20 to 50 million more suffer injuries, many of which result in lifelong disabilities. Road traffic injuries are now the leading cause of death among children and young adults aged 5 to 29 years. Alarmingly, 92% of these fatalities occur in low and middle-income countries, despite these countries having only about 60% of the world's vehicles. More than half of those killed are among the most vulnerable road users like pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists. Beyond the devastating human cost, road crashes also take a heavy economic toll, costing countries an estimated 3% of their gross domestic product each year. Now, recognizing the urgency of this crisis, the United Nations has set an ambitious goal of reducing by half the global number of deaths and injuries from road traffic crashes, that is by the year 2030. But what do these global figures mean for Nepal? On today's episode of Insight, we will examine what the road safety situation looks like here at home. We'll also try and explore who is most at risk based on socio-economic status and demographic factors, the major risk factors contributing to crashes, the policies and legal frameworks currently in place, and what more needs to be done to prevent these tragedies. We'll also ask a critical question: are our state institutions and emergency systems prepared to respond quickly and effectively when crashes occur? Joining us on today's episode of Insight is public health researcher with a PhD in injury prevention and a focus on public health. Dr. Pushparaj Pant, welcome to Insight.
Thank you, Saraji. Namaste. Thank you for inviting.
In Nepal, as we speak, monsoon has begun. There are a lot of road accidents that we are reporting, we are seeing. In your observation so far, how has the pattern been in our country?
It's not only the monsoon season, actually. It's our a kind of a belief that I hear the news and people talking like it's the monsoon season or it's the festival season, we will have more crashes. But if you look at the data, it's an errant phenomena, like it's happening because of the system that it works, like who is behind the wheel and how the system, the vehicles are being tested or monitored. This is all about the way how it is managed, actually.
And in your observation, which part of the system is failing mostly? Is it the roads, it's the vehicles, the driver's behavior, enforcement, or emergency response?
If it was clear answer, or if it was that short answer, it would have been solved so many years ago. In fact, this is a complex problem. Actually, this is a compound. Like we have serious problem in driver licensing. Number one, because you can see the behavior of the drivers, and the other is the vehicles. They are operating on the roads are in different condition. I don't say that they all are in poor condition, but we don't know what condition of the vehicle it is. And the other is about the road surfaces. I don't say there is no improvement, but obviously it also, and the having blacktopped or the paved road is not the road only, that we need some features that guide the drivers, like for example, the proper signpost, traffic signpost, or the lane marking and the lights, those kind of things. So this is all, we're progressing slowly, but it's not adequate, I would say.
So there's a lot of work to do in a lot of aspects for a collective result to be produced. Nepal police data shows that speeding is one of the leading cause for road crashes, as you said. Why does speed remain so difficult to control in practice?
There are two observations, I would say. One is the speed, because high speed or speed over than 70 km per hour, I would say, would have a very high impact that will damage the vehicle as well as the occupant. Or if it is in a motorbike, that's completely, it can be completely fatal. The other thing is our speed, speed in our road is unpredictable. For example, if we look at the urban roads, for example, Kathmandu city or any other cities, the roads are congested, and whenever the driver gets a free road, then they just speed them. And the other way, on the other side, if we think about the vehicles operating in the night or long distances or in a road where there is no policing or any camera or these enforcement, they can go speed any way they want and sometimes beyond their control. And this is happening. And the other thing I would also add, the third one, is I have observed that many of the vehicles don't have speedometers. Actually, the driver doesn't know how much speed they are driving. That's why what happens when anything is unpredictable, then it is very dangerous. That's the situation. And the other last thing I can also add here is the drivers are not well informed by the state or the agencies. They look after the roads or the transport management. For example, if you are entering a road section, there is no signpost that how much a maximum speed limit of that road is actually, and where it ends. For example, say if I entered from Narayan Gopal, that intersection junction to the north and to the south, I think the speed should be less than it was on the ring road. but there is no sign or nothing. And the way it happens is the drivers are unaware about the speed limit. So when the police, actually the police fines are being implied, then what happens, a certain speed limit is measured on the spot. Maybe that was the time when the driver found the roads are free, and then they want to make up the time they were waiting in the jam or the congestion.
So you think there's a gap in communicating to the general public what they can or cannot do?
Definitely. Actually the drivers. So if we want to enforce the speed laws, then we must inform the drivers that how much speed they can drive in a particular road. And that doesn't mean that the speed limit in our ring road is 50 km/h. So that's also, I don't think it is appropriate, because this is not a freeway. You are not continuously driving at 50 km/h. I think on average the vehicles are driven around 25 km/h because they have to stop frequently and then go up on to catch up the speed. So what happens when you said why the speed is a problem? Exactly, the vehicle was not moving so fast a minute ago. Then after 1 minute it goes right up to 50 or 60. So then there is a high chance of crash, because in that situation what happens, the other vehicle or the driver doesn't know that how much speed that other person will drive, because this is completely unpredictable, that I can say. This is my observation.
And how do you think the authority is being able to implement the rules and regulations? Because we do see traffic police fining violators.
I think this should be done in two ways. One is about urban roads. So that's in urban areas you have streets and you have commuters, frequent commuters, and you have a not very long distance driving is a very, but a relatively short distance. For example, if you enforce like 30 km/h, you don't lose like if it is 30 km/h, say Kathmandu to Pokhara or Kathmandu to Zappa, then they will lose about 3-4 hours, right? If in Kathmandu, it doesn't make sense. Like if you arrive 5 minutes late or before or after, that's the difference. But if you set up 50%, 50 per hour, 50 km/h speed limit, and someone drives, what if someone drives 30 km only? You know, so the 50 km means that's they are regulated. No one drives above that limit, but also don't below that limit, so that the traffic is running smoothly. You know, I give an analogy of the ants. You know, the ants when they going in a convoy, they all move in one speed. You know, like then it looks like it's a very nice convoy. But when you disturb them, say think about one vehicle that is a crossing thoroughfare in the junction, everyone is distracted, and the nice convoy becomes dispersed, and they take so long to convene again. So this is the real problem of speed enforcement.
You mentioned the lack of elements such as speed limit signs during turnings or where they should be. The authorities, they raise billions in traffic fines. How do you think have they managed to properly utilize the revenue that the state collects from these violators?
I think this revenue doesn't go to police. That's the main problem. It goes to the national
state coffer.
State coffer, and that's how. But this year, the government has allocated a nice amount of budget in the name of the road safety developments. I hope this will next year, next financial year, will be a good one for all these complaint I am doing here, because there are the current government has nice plans to catch up all these backlogged physical infrastructure development and all those safety features, all these installments of what you call road safety furniture, we call them. For example, the traffic lights or street lights, or these lane markings, or whatever, this crash barrier that prevents the cars or the vehicles running off from the the cliff. So those kind of things, I hope it will be there. So in the past, slightly the story is different, but since this is not yet the beginning of the new fiscal year and the government already has got the budget out and they have allocated a good amount, I hope this will be done.
We also hear about a draft proposal to revise the fine brackets. So if you are a violator of road rules, you can be charged between 500 to 100,000 rupees. How practical do you think the rates are?
No, and I think this is a global practice. If you violate the rules, you are fined, and that's actually a crime, because this is a matter of life and death for somebody or yourself, because that's how this concept has evolved. But the problem here, I was trying to explain before, was if you don't tell the driver or the road user what you are allowed and what you are not allowed to do on the road, by installing signposts or painting the roads or telling them during the driver licensing test, or through any other alert system or any, for example, the road blockage things. You don't just put a signpost where the road is blocked. You should have a system that informs the driver well ahead. So if you have all these things in what you call practice, or you have provided them, you have a very good logic that you can find driver very happily, because you have already educated them and they are not following it. But in ours, it's too early to comment on them actually, why the government has done it before. It's the existing Traffic Management Act is very old. It's almost over 30 years old, and some of the offenses are not even recognized. For example, mobile phone or all these tech-related things were not there before, so that you have to update them. And if you are revising the offenses and then the amount of the fine, I think it's reasonable. But the biggest point here is the government, and there are three agencies. I should say now, by highlighting the fines, we are kind of passing the ball to the police actually, where the what you call responsibility, or is their job duty was to the Department of Roads and Department of Transport Management and all other local bodies too. So my question is whether they have done their job. Otherwise, what happens? I don't see any lane on a road, but I am fined because I drive on the other side of the road, and assumption is that I am in the wrong lane, but there is no lane marking. So that's the main point. If there was a lane marked, whether it is dotted or is a solid, then anyone can. That's the evidence that I was doing the wrong thing. If it is just a black top, you can't say I was in the wrong lane.
So the approach of negative reinforcement in this case would be too early.
Yeah, actually, this is sometimes what happens. People are a bit. There will be some backlashes, but I have since it's my job and I am a kind of researcher. I talk with so many drivers and things. I have found very positive remarks around driving, drink driving, and drugs, all these things, But when it comes to about traffic light or lane things, the drivers say exactly what I'm saying, because if you don't provide the lanes, how can we maintain it? That's the biggest question.
But otherwise, considering the minimum salary that the government has determined and all, the rates that they have proposed, the idea that they have floated, do you think they are fine?
The highest amount is slightly high, thinking about the average earnings. But in high-income countries also there are heavy fines, and people are always scared of being fined, so that they keep themselves in a discipline. And I also have some kind of experience of living abroad, and my friends are drivers as well. So they are very cautious before using a road. They look for where there's a one way, where there's a speed limit, and how the conditions are. So this becomes their job nowadays in our country right now. The driver, one thing is driver don't have power too. The drivers are powerless, kind of what you call, not even employees. They are just a worker. Even if you yourself you drive a car, I don't think you feel you have enough power, because this is just there are so many things you are pressed on, but you have nowhere to express your grievances or worries. For example, I gave you example. You are fined on a crossroad that you violated a lane, but there was no lane. So where will you go? Because police is putting fine on you, but this is not police job to make lanes. That's my point here.
So you mean the interagency coordination has been lacking?
Yes, that's how the historical problem here. So that's why this situation has come actually. And now we are missing two things. When you're talking about drivers and lanes, in our country we have got very heavy fleet of motorbike, almost 75% two-wheelers, and these two-wheelers are not really appreciated in any traffic transportation kind of thing. Number one, they are self-vulnerable, very delicate, and there is no safety harness. And the other is they are very, prone to violate the rules because of two things. One, there is convenience, and there is no other infrastructure made for them separately drive motorbike like that. So this is another thing.
So pedestrians and two-wheelers are the most vulnerable of the victims. Do you think the state has separate policies to address these different segments?
I'm not aware about this, except there are rules for mandatory helmet rules. For example, anybody on the bike, either single or double, or in Nepal we have 3 people, more than 2 people also, they carry their children. So I don't think so there is no rule actually. That's how they are carrying their children, or the goods sometimes they carry it. We also lack some of the rules. Since you raised this, I don't think we have separate rule for pedestrian, separate rule for motorbike, or even bicyclist. We have one rule, the Transportation Vehicle and Transport Management Act, and these things are then we call regulation. You have to regulate. You have to regulate taxis, your private cars, motorbikes. Nowadays we have got these motor taxis, motorbike taxis. Now we have got increased cycle lanes. So what happens when there is a dedicated agency that is for road safety, that looks after, that puts the people in the center, road users in the center, and they looks after their safety. At the moment, we are driven by the acts or rules or regulations. They are driven for infrastructure development and transport, the connectivity and those kind of things. So I don't blame them. That's their right. They are doing their right job. But we should have an agency or organization that looks after people's safety.
It sounds like post-1990s we did good with road expansion, but we have lagged behind in terms of putting safety first.
True. And because this was not the concept, since in 1990 you can see that our traffic fleet has kind of grew exponentially, and this is mostly on the motorbikes. But we can discuss separately sometime. But the way the motorbikes are promoted, there are two ways. I think, as you already have researched, that the highest number of fatality or the injuries are from the two-wheel riders. Actually, we can compare it with alcohol or tobacco, because this is the same problem, this causing youth people. So that's one thing. But the other is in the name of expansion, we forgot the safety features and things. And obviously, this is globally also. The road safety is a bit new concept. Before, say, in 1990s or before the 1980s, my friend was telling that in France it used to be a very, very different situation than it is now. And in Sweden, people in 1960s, I think, they switched from right to left, and they spent billions and billions of dollars in 1960s to improve the road safety culture of the people. So we need investment too. And to comment, I think, on the government part, it looks like with the fine imposement of imposing the fine, we can change people's behavior, but the theory of the knowledge transfer says that you can import the technology, you can import the car quickly today, but you need at least 1 month to get it around, how the steering wheel, how the brakes, how the things are working, as well as what are the safety features. You have to learn. It will take 1 month or so, but you can buy it today. And the other thing is about caring for safety. Caring for safety yourself or for the passengers or anybody on the walking on the road is a bit a time. They need a time, like you need a second to think about all of these people. If you're just thinking about arriving to your destination, then you are not thinking about safety. This is a culture, so that really needs a time. If you notice the discussion and debates going over the past few years, you will notice that before 5 or 10 years, there was no such discussion used to be. So these days, we have so many people talking about road safety. They are demanding different solutions. That's why the government is, I think, listening to it, or they must listen it so that they can implement what the people are demanding. That's how it works. So it's slow but steady.
The United Nations, considering all of these scale of impact, has taken a target of reducing the number of fatalities and also injuries, in fact, by half by the year 2030. Do you think it is too ambitious, or are we prepared to attain that goal?
This is a second decade, actually. They did it since 2011 to 20, and that was not a success, actually, but they did a lot of rules and regulations and the organizational structure at that time. Then in 2020, they set for another one, because 21 to 30. So this is the second decade. And as you referring the global status report on on road safety 2023, there was it shows that there have been so many countries they have reduced, and so many countries have at least not increasing anymore. So they have started to decline. About 100 countries or so out of 200. This is a big progress. But thinking about your question, in the Southeast Asia region, we used to have 11 countries, and now we have 10. Out of these 10 countries, only Bangladesh and ourselves, Nepal, are rising the number of injuries and deaths, whereas all 8 countries have reduced their number. At least they are not 50% though, but at least they have shown some indication. So this is our problem. And the other thing is, I must say, when you're talking about the UN and these things, the data discrepancy is already there. When we talk about 1.19 million deaths, we are referring to the estimates done by the World Health Organization due to using their statistical models and things. And at home, all on these government documents and all these literature, we mostly find these police records of fatalities and injuries mentioned. We also have Ministry of Health. They records the number of injured patients visited to the health facilities, but I don't see it is referred to anywhere. It is also around 100,000, whereas the traffic police accounts for only 35 to 36,000 injuries. And the other thing is the number of fatalities. Police counts them about less than 3,000, but the World Health Organization previously used to estimate around 5,000. Now they have increased it to the 8,500. Let me give you example of yesterday crash in Karnali Highway. You see that we don't know how many people are on board. And this one body is found, and one person is counted as fatal yesterday.
They're still searching.
Yeah. No, but my point is the number. Yesterday, fatality was one person in Karnali Highway. Actually, if we are legally looking for the police record, this is one person death yesterday indeed. But in reality, we don't know how many people died. I don't think anybody has survived yet. This happened to the Simaltal last year. there are estimates of 65 people were in the both vehicles, but I think not all bodies are found. So legally, not all 65 are dead yet. So that's how I'm just trying to explain how the number of deaths are differ in government records.
That's a very beautiful way to illustrate actually how the discrepancies come about, and that surely is going to impact the policies as well. But in your observation, many countries, as you mentioned, have been able to reduce the number of victims. What global interventions would you say would be practical for Nepal, or do we need to be very organic when it comes to our issues?
No need to organic, because there are in 2017 in another World Health UN General Assembly, the nations, member states agreed, I think 12 voluntary targets. They include all these things what we're talking about actually. The first one is the lead agency that looks after the road safety of people traveling, whether they are walking or cycling or motorcycling. So the lead agency, that doesn't still exist in Nepal. The one thing, that's the biggest solution, because then you and I have someone to go and report all these things. I've been to the media before also, and I sometimes ask the host, like, we are talking here very nice. Do you know who is listening this? Who is accountable for this? There is no one authority now. So that's the first thing. We have one lead road agency. Then there are several targets that around you have to control limits, speed limits. Because you have to designate the speed limits according to their status. For example, if they're highways or street or the urban roads, then you have to test your vehicles, all the mandatory test for the vehicle, as well as import very highly safety rated vehicles only. Then you are these enforcing mandatory helmet rules. All these, there are 12 targets, including the, as you touched in the beginning about the post-crash response and the treatment of the injured persons. So there are all these targets are set and their description how it should be done. But the problem is that there is no agency to look at them. That's how it is delayed.
If you could mandate a few reforms that the government can make in the next few months or a year, what do you think they would be?
No, they're definitely the reform, because this is actually transition. The government has just taken over, and there are lots of things underway in pipeline. But these are the things they are already, because I'm aware about the new road safety policy is coming. The Road Safety Act is coming. The Transportation and Vehicle Management Act you mentioned is being amended. All these things, and the Ministry of Transport, this infrastructure development has resourced for with a very good amount of budget for road safety work. So these are the things. This is the beginning actually.
This is a year-round issue. However, most of it comes to highlight to general public, especially during monsoon season. Do you think there should be monsoon-specific steps that the government needs to adapt?
To be frank, I checked the number of fatality and injuries and crashes during the monsoon and during the festivals. I don't remember top of head, but it's not much different than the average. So I would flip this question and would suggest the way people think about how is the weather, how would it rain or not, how is the road. If they think the same way through year round, some of the fatalities or crashes will definitely stop, because this is not because of the monsoon. Definitely in monsoon we have got hilly terrain, there are slopes, there are some the fragile this road topography, so that it happens that when it rains the roads are washed away. That's one thing. But this is a temporary problem. Say for example, if we are traveling right now in Tarai, whether it's a very hot weather, and you suddenly enter into a cold place, and there is a risk of driver being fell asleep because of this pleasant feeling, and the vehicle can crash. And this thing can happen anywhere, like it's not a matter of...
Regardless of the weather.
Yeah. No, I don't say this is completely it doesn't happen, because there are examples. There are floods, there are landslides, and it happens. But what I'm trying to say, we think about these situations and we don't travel, and we avert the crashes or any mishaps, But what happens in a dry day, we don't think about it. So that's my point. If we start thinking, that doesn't mean that we have to care about all about it. The state is there, and there are agencies to look after all these things and monitor. But to respond to your question, because you asked that in monsoon, and also some people ask during the festivals. Because during the festival, people also think that, okay, we are traveling long distance, how will we our journey, all these things. They take care of it, actually.
To conclude our conversation, if you could summarize the pattern that you've observed in Nepal and what could be done.
If you go to low-hanging fruits, I can see that since the Kathmandu metropolitan city or the valley comprise 50% of the country's fleet, and because of we have a provision here, we can record the highest number of crashes and injuries. But the way the road infrastructure is here and the transport system operates, it can be easily improved with a few things. For example, if we blanket impose the 30 km/h speed rule in the inner streets, and another thing, enforcing the mandatory stop when you are entering to the main road from a street. There is no mandatory stop. Although people say they have to stop, I don't see a stop line anywhere in the street that ends to the highway or this main way. So that's one thing. And we have got traffic lights installed. It is coming nicely. But the position of the traffic lights, if it is more convenient, everyone will see them. They will follow it. And the other thing is they don't function it. During the peak time, again, you have to send the policemen on the street. And the other thing, we should not completely rely on this technology, especially in traffic lights at the moment. We must have some people on the street, because two things. I know people disagree. We need employment, and we need, some sort of a sense of somebody is policing us, actually, literally policing us. The driver, sometimes, if you don't see them, you don't care. So if you just see a person in a uniform, that makes sense. And you are retaining youth people going from abroad. And as you rightly mentioned right in the beginning, that it's not a business of loss, actually. If you employ many policemen, they will earn revenue also. You don't have to pay for them. So that's my point.
Dr. Pant, thank you so much for your time and your insights.
Thank you very much. It was so nice to talk to you.
Well, as we've heard today, road traffic crashes are not inevitable, they are preventable. We hope this conversation is an added call for stronger policies, safer roads, responsible road use, and timely emergency response as well. Thank you as always for staying with us here on the show. Until next time.
Intermittent playing hide and seek with the folk, enchanting one's heart with the sight of fully bloomed rhododendrons, and rejoicing in the lap of nature with the chirping of the birds. When you set foot in Sandakpur, you experience a wonderful feeling of heavenly bliss right here on earth. Due to the ever-changing weather and the snow-white mountains visible right in front of your eyes, Sandakpur constantly draws everyone's heart towards it. As a habitat for numerous species of birds and endangered wildlife, Sandakpur always leaves an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of all. Situated at an altitude of 3,636 meters above the sea level, Sandakpur is located at Ward 2 and 4 of Sandakpur Rural Municipality in Nepal's eastern Ilam district. Embracing the mountains of Nepal, India and Bhutan, Sandakpur is the only place in South Asia where one can observe the Himalayas of all three countries. While enjoying the Himalayan settlements, one can observe the sunrise and sunset from Sandakpur. It is the only place in Nepal from where over 60 mountain peaks, including the Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu, Pathivara and Kumbhakarna can be seen from one spot. Being the source of the holy Mai River, one of the four major rivers in Ilam, Sandakpur is also revered from a religious standpoint, attracting pilgrims from Sandakpur Ridge. The settlements of Ilam, Jhapa and West Bengal of India seem so close that it feels like you could hold them in the palm of your hand. The crimson glow of the sun rising from the Bay of Bengal in the morning, glittering upon the mountains. The joy of witnessing this form such a height is majestic. That is why in winter for the snow and during the monsoon for the rain, the number of visitors from both home and abroad to Sandakpur is on the rise. Among the different species of rhododendrons found in Nepal, 36 can be spotted just along the Sandakpur trek. The rhododendrons blooming all over the forest captivate every heart. With the chirping of birds, the cliffside honeybees, and the opportunity to study endangered species like the red panda, vultures, while enjoying nature, Sandakpur journey has captivated trekkers from around the world. Every year, more than 150,000 tourists from India, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Europe visit Sandakpur. Known as the Bird's Eye Place, Sandakpur was declared a one province, one cultural village by Nepal government in 2018. However, the place still awaits infrastructures like drinking water, electricity and proper trekking trails. Sandakpur can be reached after a 42-kilometer ride from the Ilam headquarters via Mai Pokhari and Kalu Pokhari. Another route to Sandakpur is from Ilam Bazar via Biblate, Sulubung, Mabu and Kalu Pokhari. When trekking to Sandakpur, the highest point of the Mahabharata range, the joy of staying in the homestays and hotels along the way while savoring local cuisine is immeasurable. While forging a connection with the Himalayan settlements, enjoying herbs and local produce, and playing in the snow in winter and the rain during the monsoon, you must visit Sandakpur at least once in your life.
It is no more the remote far west, but the wonderful west. Nine districts are in the far west province, from the low-lying Tarai to the heightening mountains. Climatically, the province has all tropical weather conditions prevailing in Nepal. This makes the province a paradise for tourists of all interests. Khaptad, Badimalika, Api and Saipal mountains, Surmi and Ghodagodi lakes, Ramarosan area, Dodara Chandani, Sukla Fata Wildlife Reserve, Tikapur Botanical Garden, Amargari Fort. Dhangadi, the province headquarters, is the gateway to the state. The business hub of the far west region, Dhangadi, is becoming well equipped for political, trade and business infrastructures and other human resources. The far west region of Nepal is blessed with natural beauty. Any traveler is attracted by this epitome of beauty and a gift of Mother Nature. In addition to the natural beauty of the region, you can see the human civilizations rich in culture and arts throughout the province. The people of this region enjoy their unique lifestyle identified by their culture, language and religion. The far west region has the wealth of nature, culture and religious uniqueness to offer to every traveler. Khaptad. The Khaptad National Park, spreading across 4 districts of Doti, Acham, Bajang and Bajura of the far west province, is situated at an altitude of 3,000 meters above the sea level. The natural splendor and breathtaking views revealing geography's diversity is a sight to remember for every nature lover. This is the land of penance, where Khaptad Baba lived for 50 years in his pursuit of knowledge and enlightenment. There are 22 Patans and the famous Triveni temple in Khaptad. The natural splendor of Khaptad area is attracting many domestic and foreign tourists by the day. Trekking in the Khaptad region is a lifetime experience, especially with the numerous species of birds, wildlife, flora and fauna in the numerous trails. Khaptad is the meeting point of 4 districts, Doti, Acham, Bazan and Basura, a chaste land of Khaptad Baba, an important place for religious tourism. Special prayers and worship are offered in the place during the famous Dasara fair. Some of the major attractions in the region. Badi Malika. Situated 4,200 meters above the sea level, Badi Malika is a famous religious site in remote Bajura district of the far west province. The annual fair on the occasion of Janai Purnima draws thousands of devotees at the Badi Malika temple. Lush green meadows, pure waterfalls, and whistling ravines flowing downstream are the major attractions of the natural wonder. Thousands of domestic and foreign tourists flock the temple every year during the fair and other times as well. Badi Malika is popular among people in the far west and Karnali provinces. However, few people from Kathmandu and Gadwal of India also visit this site for pilgrimage. The famous pilgrimage site in Bajura district of far west province, Badi Malika. There is a popular belief that offering worship to deity Badi Malika fulfills one's wishes. Large fair takes place every year on Janai Purnima. The Badi Malika temple on top of a hill. The 22 patans, various species of flowers, panoramic view of the mountain range. Only a few small tea shops are seen as amenities in this area. One can reach Badi Malika by taking a flight from Nepalganj to Kolti airport of Bajura. Day-long drive from Kolti followed by 3 days of walk. Suklafata. Suklafata National Park is a world-famous destination for those interested in wildlife. The main attraction of the park is the large grassy meadows where the Barasingas are seen in big numbers. The flock in the park is said to be the largest in the world. The park is home to 46 mammals, including endangered Bengal tiger, elephant, and anjir, and over 423 species of birds. The national park offers elephant ride and jungle safari to tourists as major recreational activities. The national park along Nepal-India border in Kanchanpur district is famous for watching wild elephants and Barasinga, a heaven for wildlife enthusiasts. The attractions: grassy meadows, swamps and wetlands. Ramaroshan, located in Acham district of Nepal at an altitude of 2,500 meters above the sea level. Ramaroshan is a jewel for tourists in the far west province. A place having 18 patch of meadows, locally known as Patans, is a major tourism destination. The beautiful Ramaroshan Lake is the major attraction for tourists here. This area is the only habitat of national bird of Nepal, Daffy, or the Lophophorus. The rhododendron forest along the trails leading to the lake rejuvenates every traveler. Amargadi Fort. Amargadi Fort is a historic castle in Amargadi municipality of Danildura. This fort is an important site of historical, archaeological, political, religious, social and cultural aspect. The fort that witnessed the bravery of Kaji Amar Singh Thapa in the unification campaign of Nepal is strategically located at the top of a hill in the district headquarters of Dadildura. General Thapa established his administrative headquarters in the fort itself during the unification campaign. This is an interesting site for researchers and archaeological explorers. Mostly domestic and Indian tourists visit this fort. The Far West province has dozens of existing and new tourism destinations. From a breathtaking mountain range to famous temples, the province has tourism destinations for all types of travelers to engage them for even a month. As many tourism destinations are in Far West province, so is the potential of the province. Most of the tourists in the province come for travel and research. However, lack of proper infrastructures discourage many enthusiasts. The Far West province has not been able to welcome desired number of tourists in the absence of the amenities. The number of foreign tourists entering Nepal via custom points in the Far West province has seen some increment of late. But most of them hardly spend a day or two there. After entering Nepal from Kailali or Kanchanpur, most of the tourists head towards the east for capital Kathmandu or Pokhara or some other destinations. After the centralized system of governance changed to federalism, the possibilities of development has increased with the full authority now in local levels. One immediate such possibility is the trekking trail. If only the 5 proposed tourism corridors, Khakrola, Tikapur, Karnali, Badimalika, Khutia, Bipinagar, Tel Lake, Khaptar, Dhangadi, Budar, Saipal, Mahakali River and Jhulaghat, Mursa can be developed as per provincial government's plan. It could contribute to the national mission of prosperity through tourism. Many other destinations can be developed into touristic sites to welcome domestic as well as foreign tourists. The artist's geography might be discouraging, but the nature has blessed the region with glory. This is why tourism can be the base for prosperity for Far West province. It is no more the remote Far West, but the wonderful West.
Hello and welcome to Business World. I am Siksha Bhatrai. In this edition, we bring you the week's biggest global business and economic stories. From the rising cost of geopolitical conflicts and exchanging trade policies to market competition, artificial intelligence, and the future of global industries. We begin with the growing financial impact of the Middle East conflict, where the United States says its war with Iran has already cost billions of dollars. The Pentagon says the United States' war with Iran has cost $37.5 billion so far. The Trump administration is now seeking additional funding from the Congress to continue military operations. The rising cost of the conflict has intensified debate in Washington over long-term military strategy, defense spending, and the economic impact of prolonged wars.
The Pentagon says the U.S. war with Iran has cost $37.5 billion so far and is seeking an additional $67 billion from Congress to fund military operations through September. Lawmakers from both parties questioned the funding request and demanded greater transparency on the Trump administration's strategy in the Middle East. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the requested funds are urgent, while officials continue to face questions over the long-term costs and objectives of the conflict.
Do you have a new estimate about what the war has cost us so far in this, the 5th month of the first year of this war in Iran?
Senator, the estimate we have as of today is $37.5 billion.
As the financial costs continue to rise, global markets are watching another major concern, that is energy security. Renewed fighting in the Middle East has increased concerns over global oil supplies. The International Energy Agency says energy markets remain vulnerable to further disruptions. Although higher production from major oil exporters has helped stabilize prices, traders continue to monitor risk to key shipping routes and oil transport corridors.
The head of the International Energy Agency has said on Tuesday that renewed fighting in the Middle East increases concerns over energy supplies, but that the market still has cushions to observe the impact. It is said that crude oil markets were continuing to benefit from several stabilizing factors, including increased exports from several countries and Saudi and United Arab Emirates oil reaching markets through alternative routes. However, Saudi Arabia's main alternative route of using a pipeline to load tankers in the Red Sea port of Yanbu is under threat as Iran's Yemeni allies, the Houthis, declared they would blockade Saudi Arabia's ports. All markets have for months feared that the Houthis would return to attacking shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, as they did during the Gaza war, cutting off yet more crude from global markets. The initial market reaction to the announcement by the Houthis was restrained. However, as Iran indicated that mediation efforts were still underway, calming investor jitters.
Iraq and Syria are planning to revive a long-abandoned oil pipeline linking northern Iraq to Syria's Mediterranean coast. The project would provide an alternative export route, reducing dependence on the Strait of Hormuz. The 800-kilometer pipeline was built in 1952 and can transport up to 300,000 barrels of oil per day. It has remained out of service for years after suffering extensive damage during successive conflicts. U.S. Ambassador and Special Envoy Tom Barrack has held discussions with Iraqi and Syrian officials as well as American companies on restoring the pipeline.
Iraq and Syria are planning to revive a long-abandoned oil pipeline linking northern Iraq to Syria's Mediterranean coast, creating an alternative export route that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. The 800-kilometer pipeline, built in 1952, has a capacity of 300,000 barrels per day, but has remained out of service for years after being damaged in successive conflicts. U.S. Ambassador and Special Envoy Tom Barrack has held discussions with Iraqi and Syrian officials as well as U.S. companies on restoring the pipeline, according to informed sources. However, extensive repairs to the pipeline's pumping stations and power systems are expected to take 2 to 3 years before operations can resume.
China has criticized Britain's decision to nationalize British steel. Beijing says the move undermines confidence among Chinese investors and unfairly affects British Steel's Chinese owner. China has urged Britain to honour its commitments under the China-UK bilateral investment treaty. The British government says bringing the company into public ownership will protect jobs and preserve a strategically important industry.
China has criticized Britain's decision to nationalize British Steel, warning that the movement undermines Chinese investor confidence and harms Chinese businesses operating in the UK. Beijing said the takeover unfairly infringes on the rights of British Steel's Chinese owner, Jinghe Group, and urged London to honor its obligations under the China-UK bilateral investment treaty. The UK government said bringing the loss-making steelmaker into public ownership will protect jobs and preserve a strategically important industry. China also accused Britain of using national security as a justification to seize control of the company, despite Jinghe's contribution to the British economy.
While energy markets face uncertainty, China is taking a different approach by expanding trade with developing economies. China has extended its zero tariff policy to 63 countries. The initiative also includes simpler custom procedures and easier market access. Beijing says the policy is designed to strengthen economic partnerships and expand international trade.
China has expanded its zero tariff policy to 63 countries, saying the move is aimed at boosting trade and deepening economic ties with developing nations. China's General Administration of Customs announced on Wednesday that the expanded zero tariff treatment is now in effect, supported by new customs measures designed to speed up cross-border trade. The policy includes simplified customs procedures, risk-based inspections, and expanded green channels for agricultural and food imports. China says the initiative has already contributed to stronger trade, with imports and exports between China and Africa rising 19.6% in the first half of this year. Since May, Beijing has extended zero tariffs to all 53 African countries, with which it has diplomatic relations, adding to existing duty-free access for the least developed nations. Officials say the policy is part of China's broader strategy to expand international trade, strengthen economic partnerships, and promote greater market access over the coming years.
Trade and economic policy are also in focus in Europe. Britain's new Prime Minister Andy Burnham says decisions on tax increases will be made during the upcoming national budget.
New British Prime Minister Andy Burnham says decisions on tax rises will be made when the next budget is drawn up, as he outlines measures to tackle the country's cost of living pressures. Burnham, who became Prime Minister 2 days earlier, has also unveiled a tax cut on household electricity prices.
No, we'll take decisions on tax at the budget. This is about reprioritising in this phase. As I say, going to the public's priorities, the cost of living crisis, the housing crisis. How much longer are we going to talk about these things without actually doing something to help people? And already in the space of a few days, I've made a number of moves that will deal with some of these challenges, although I appreciate there's a lot more to do.
From global policy to regional connectivity, Nepal has launched its first ever cargo rail service from Kolkata of India to the integrated checkpost in Biratnagar. The service marks an important milestone in strengthening cross-border trade and logistics between Nepal and India.
The first ever rail cargo service from Kolkata in India to Biratnagar's integrated checkpost ICP has officially started, marking a major milestone in Nepal's trade and transit logistics. The service is expected to provide faster deliveries, reduce transportation costs, and improve access for importers in eastern Nepal by enabling direct movement of goods and raw materials from India and third countries. Industrialists in the Sunsari Morang corridor, however, have raised concerns over high handling charges at the Nepal Customs Yard. They have urged officials to reduce cost and develop necessary infrastructure to ensure smoother cargo movement. The new rail link expands Nepal-India transit connectivity beyond Birganj under the Nepal-India Transit Treaty, which allows Nepal to use Indian transport networks for third country trade.
And as countries strengthen trade networks, regulators are also tightening oversight of online marketplaces. The European Union has imposed a €550 million fine on AliExpress.
The European Union has imposed a €550 million fine on online retailer AliExpress after finding that the platform allowed the sale of illegal and potentially dangerous products. The penalty comes amid concerns that unsafe items, including certain toys and cosmetics that fail to meet EU safety standards, were being made available to consumers. Regulators said that decision highlights the EU's growing efforts to hold major online marketplaces accountable for the products sold through their platforms and to strengthen protections for shoppers across Europe.
Higher cost and geopolitical uncertainty are also affecting the aviation industry. European budget airline Ryanair has reported a sharp decline in profits. The company says higher fuel cost and weaker travel demand have weighed heavily on the earnings.
Ryanair's profits have fallen sharply as war in the Middle East sent jet fuel prices soaring and customers reluctant to book flights. The Irish Airlines pre-tax profits dropped 34% to €593 million between April and June, while sales were flat as the company was forced to cut fares to stimulate demand. The price of fueling a plane had jumped since the US and Israel launched strikes against Iran in February, and while Ryanair said it had hedged or struck deals for the most future fuel cost, those not included in these arrangements had more than doubled.
Apple has overtaken NVIDIA to become the world's most valuable publicly traded company. The shift reflects growing investor confidence in Apple's artificial intelligence strategy.
Apple has overtaken NVIDIA to become the world's most valuable publicly traded company, with a market valuation of $4.88 trillion, compared with NVIDIA's $4.86 trillion, after a 3.5% decline in the NVIDIA's market value. The shift reflects changing investor sentiment as markets increasingly favor companies that can generate commercial returns from artificial intelligence rather than those supplying AI infrastructure. Apple's recent launch of an upgraded AI-powered Siri assistant has strengthened expectations that the company can monetize AI through its consumer products while maintaining relatively lower AI infrastructure spending. NVIDIA had held the top position after becoming the first company to surpass a $5 trillion market valuation in October. The milestone comes ahead of Apple's third quarter earnings report on July 30.
While Apple focuses on consumer AI, China's technology sector is advancing AI development at a rapid pace. Chinese startup Moonshoot has unveiled Kimi K3, an artificial intelligence model with a 2.8 trillion parameters.
Chinese AI startup Moonshot has unveiled Kimi K3, a new artificial intelligence model with 2.8 trillion parameters, which serves as a measure of an AI's scale and processing power. The company plans to release Kimi K3 as an open-source model on July 27, allowing developers worldwide to download, run, and customize it freely. Once released, Kimi K3 will become the world's first open-source AI model in the nearly 3 trillion parameter class. The move could accelerate AI adoption and innovation by expanding access to advanced AI technology for businesses and developers worldwide. Despite the United States' latest crackdown on American AI developer Anthropic to temporarily withdraw its flagship Fable and Mythos model due to severe cybersecurity concerns.
Businesses are also adapting to the challenge of balancing economic growth with climate goals. The European Union has proposed easing carbon emissions trading to give industries more time to adjust.
The European Union has proposed easing the bloc's emission trading rules, giving businesses more time to reduce greenhouse gas emissions under a broader overhaul of the bloc's climate policy. Under the emissions trading system, or ETS, industries and power plants must buy permits for every ton of carbon dioxide they emit, creating a financial incentive to reduce emissions, while companies can also trade or receive some allowances for free. The proposed reforms would allow some industries to continue receiving free emissions allowances until 2038 instead of phasing them out by 2034, provided they commit to investing in decarbonization. The European Commission also proposed a slowing rate at which it caps annual permits, aiming to ease compliance costs while also keeping the EU on track to cut carbon emissions by 90% by 2040. The proposals must still be approved by EU member states and the European Parliament before taking effect.
And that's all for this edition of Business World. From global conflicts and shifting trade policies to artificial intelligence and the industries of the future, those were the stories shaping the world economy. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Votekosi and Trisuli river rafting. Rafting has lately been gaining popularity among tourists. The adventure sports, which previously was popular only among foreigners, is now drawing the local tourists as well. Trisuli and Votekosi rivers that are close to Kathmandu are two popular destinations for rafting in Bagmati province. Let us first explore Votekosi. Whitewater rafting at Votekosi river is included among the 10 best adventure destinations for rafting in the world. Votekosi, which is well facilitated with food and accommodation, can be a great destination for rafting and other adventure sports. Rafting at Trisuli river is popular among domestic tourists, as the location can be reached in an hour from Kathmandu. This is where most tourists go for rafting in Nepal. Rafting packages of Votekosi and Trisuli are appropriate for those who want to spend some good time for a few days.
In 18 species of turtles occurring or reported for Nepal, almost 80% found in Nepal are globally threatened. So we can imagine we need to conserve turtles. It's going to vanish very soon.
If we continue this process from Mechi to Mahakali, then one long this terrain belt will be the one green belt of the turtle conservation. These poisonous gases will generally block to reach to the Himalayan region, then automatically the snow of mountain region will not melt, and then it will be saved as a legacy of Nepal.
We are trying our best to support to the media, local people and other conservationists also to protect this turtle. And then local peoples are also kindly aware to protect, and if they found this kind of turtles, and they are requested to send over here, and we even for those people who bring turtles, we support them from different way from our side also.
Today, the world is stressed and overwhelmed by the crisis of global climate change. The unnecessary production of the greenhouse gases accelerating the global warming, and consequently the earth temperature is approaching and increasing to cross the threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius of Paris agreements about the COP. Therefore, this is one of the very serious situation in the world. But in our own country's scenario, we have also facing some of the environmental problem. That is the rapid urbanizations and excessive combustion of the fossil gases, dust, and smoke, and forest fires, and then the landslide, and then the floodings, etc., are poisoning the gases, poisoning the air. And as a result, the groundwater table of in the terrain region is falling and leading to the desertification. And likewise, in the mountain and in the mountain region, the mountain streams are drying out, and it is converting into the barren land. And likely, the snow of the Himalaya is melting and turning into the black rock. This is the very serious consequences found in Nepal, and therefore how to mitigate such types of changes, which is facing not only in the world but also in our own country. So just in my mind, one thing occurred, that this would be prevented by the process of herpetofauna conservation. So my topic becomes the perspectives of global warming by herpetofauna conservation. This is my motto. This is my statement. And how it would be possible to conserve the nature, or so to mitigate the global warming. Herpetofauna, especially wetland living herpetofauna, and if we can choose amphibia, means that's the frog from hill stream frog from the amphibia, as well as the especially turtle from the reptilia. And these two groups of the herpetofauna, this mountain stream frog is called the paha, and the turtles are naturally, it lives in the Terai region, and both these this paha species as well as this turtle species, we can make it as a key species for conservation to climate adaptation program. Means if we have to do the climate adaptation work, then we can use these two species, especially paha species and turtle species, and they are also found in different regions. Pahas are found in the midland of Nepal, means in mountain regions, and these turtles are found in the Terai region. So now both have dual life cycles. In turtle, they are naturally they are the aquatic one, means they spend most of their life in the water. But during its breeding season, they have to come on land to lay egg, and thereafter, till it's hatching out, it has to live on the land. And when it becomes a small juvenile, then it again go back to the water to spend its individual life. This is the consequences. So these two things generally, both is this amphibia as well as these turtles. They need that they have the dual life cycle. So if such types of species can be conserved in situ, for 1 decade, then what will happen? Then the water, land, forest, and for biodiversity, they will be restored, and it will establish an ideal ideal wetland ecosystems. And this ideal an ecosystem is just like, you can take, this is the example of this turtle, this Sukhani Memorial, this park. This is one example of these very things. It is the establishment of an ideal wetland ecosystem, herpetofauna conservation wetlands ecosystem. Wetland ecosystem can be established, in the in this region, either in the mountain region or in the terai region. When this newly formed wetland is occurred, then what will happen? This dry ground of in the terai region will recharge, and then the one of the green turtle conservation, that is the belt, will be established there. And these kinds of if we continue this process from Mechi to Mahakali, then one long this terrain belt will be the one green belt of the turtle conservation. In this case, this belt will help to neutralize and to neutralize and purify the toxic air blowing to the Himalayan regions. These poisonous gases will generally block to reach to the Himalayan region. Then automatically the snow of mountain region will not melt, and then it will be safe as a legacy of Nepal.
This park was established for the beautiful tourist destination, because this is very beautiful area also to visit for the tourists. Around 2 lakhs, more than 2 lakhs persons, they visit this park annually. This is the only park which is given this authority by the government of Nepal to protect the turtles, and we are trying our best in this course, and we have tried our best to make conscious people for the protection and conservation of the turtles. Then this area is very famous to find the different turtles. We are trying our best to support to the media, local people and other conservationists also to protect this turtle. And then local peoples are also kindly aware to protect, and if they found this kind of turtles, and they are requested to send over here, and we even for those people who bring turtles, we support them from different way from our side also.
As per recent data, there are 369 species of turtles in the world. In Nepal, recently, some researchers from Western Nepal, from Kailali district, they recorded a new species of turtle for Nepal. It's called Indian star tortoise. Considering that in Nepal there are 18 species and 2 subspecies, we can say so 18 species or 20 taxa of turtles are reported for Nepal. And in our conservation center, there are 9 species, and that 9 species also includes one foreign species or one invasive species. Previously, it was very popular in pet trade. Generally, people, they keep it as pet for some time, and when it grows into adulthood, it's very difficult for them to care. At the same time, we regularly conduct awareness program, and they understand it is illegal to keep turtles, so they hand over to us. So we have 9 species of turtles in our center, and presently, previously we used to keep or maintain almost 60 individuals of turtle. We have reduced it to 40, almost 40 individuals of turtles are maintained in our center. So, I just wanted to say about this establishment of our center. Basically, this center was established as a joint venture program of Nepali organization, or this very organization is called Sukhani Martyrs Memorial Foundation. This Nepali organization and another scientific organization which is based in Germany, it's called Amphibian and Reptile Conservation Society of Nepal, or in short it's called ARCO Nepal. It's a joint venture program of these 2 organizations. This conservation center was established in 2012, and interestingly, it's a kind of pride for us. It is the only conservation center for turtle that is permitted by the Ministry of Forest and Environment in Nepal. So we have been continuously working from 2012 to till now. So what I would like to stress is that in 18 species of turtles occurring or reported for Nepal, almost 80%. That means almost 80%. That means if we just go into the depth, 77.78% of turtles found in Nepal are globally threatened. So we can imagine we need to conserve turtles. If we didn't conserve turtles, then it's going to vanish very soon. There are many ecological importance of turtles, so I just wanted to just to give few points. The first thing is the aquatic turtles. They act as scavengers in wetland, like a vulture. It's decayed materials or decayed dead bodies. In the same way, the aquatic turtles, those living in water body, they feed on dead fishes or weak fishes or injured fishes, so it cleans the environment. Likewise, it is also helpful in seed dispersal, not only in seed dispersal but also fungal spore dispersal. So that's very interesting. Even it contributes in that part. Likewise, we can say the importance of turtles in food web is very much. That means many birds and many mammals, even the crabs, they feed on juveniles, that means babies of turtles. And even many mammals, many birds eat turtles eggs. So its importance in food web is also equally important. So we can say that. And the other very important thing, the very important ecological importance of turtle is it transfers energy from aquatic ecosystem to terrestrial ecosystem. That means most of the freshwater turtles, they live in some water body, but for breeding purpose, for laying eggs, they have to come out of water. So that means it lays eggs. That very eggs, it sells. It is also a type of mineral. There are some minerals in that cell. Likewise, many animals and birds eat that egg. So they helps in transfer of energy from aquatic body to terrestrial ecosystem. Likewise, turtles are worshipped, or what to say, turtles are also worshipped in Eastern philosophy, like in Hindu mythology and all. This very turtle is called Kurma, that means reincarnation of God Vishnu. So in that way, culturally also, it carries the significance. This is brown-roofed turtle. Its scientific name is Pangsura smithi. Actually, this turtle is found in Kosi River, and it was rescued from that place. And this is male. Males are very small, whereas the females are almost 3 to 5 times larger than this. So we have rescued this turtle from Kosi. Actually, some people from Dholabari, they have kept this turtle, and we convinced them that it is illegal to keep turtles. So they hand over it to us. And talking about its food, it is omnivorous. Though some scientists claim it to be vegetarian, but in our experience, it feeds on both plant matters and also flesh. So it's very cute. Basically, it likes to bask on the stone. So in this habitat, you can see there is a stone. There is a dry stone. So whenever the sun shines or it is hot, it likes to come out over the stone and it basks over there. But since their size is very small and they live in large wetlands, we need to clean this water almost 2 or 3 days. In 2 or 3 days, if we didn't clean the water regularly, so infection may occur. So it is sensitive, and we need to care a lot to this species. So you can see this is tricarinate hill turtle, and its scientific name is Melanocalis tricarinata. You can see there are 3 peculiar lines. Based on these lines are keels. It's also called keels. These prominent lines. Based on this peculiar feature, it's called tricarinate hill turtle. This turtle is found from western to central Nepal. It's very rare in eastern Nepal. There are no specific record of this specimen from eastern Nepal. So this is male. You can see generally the male has longer tail. You can see from here, and its carapace. This you can see this plastron is concave. That means this is male, and it is used for copulation. It facilitates copulation. And we have been keeping this turtle, or we have rescued this turtle for more than 5 years. we have kept this turtle. And interestingly, this is male. It's small. The female is much larger than male, and it is enlisted as endangered in IUCN red list. So that's why we have kept it here. And you can see its habitat. In our experience, though some scientists claim it to be terrestrial, but in our experience, it is semi-terrestrial. That means we need to keep water body for this species. So if it wants to stay on land or on terrestrial side, it can go there, or if it wants to live in water, it can go it there. So this is its habitat. This is Indian flapshell turtle. Its scientific name is Lysimis punctata, and its subspecies is andersoni, or its scientific name is Lysimis punctata andersoni. This is a softshell turtle. You can see it doesn't have hard shell. Its shell is covered with a leather skin, so you can see it's beautiful, and it has got yellow spots. So it is called sometimes it's called spotted turtle as well. And this is female. This is it is an adult female. It is the maximum size. It is almost 2 kg. You can see it's very big, it's very large. And this is female. Generally the female has roundish shape, whereas the male is a little bit elongated. So in our experience, we can assume it to be female. But generally some people, they say they have kept turtles, or they have been rearing turtles, but they might not be able to identify whether it's male or female, but it's female. And at the same time, it has shorter tail, because the cloaca does not come out of this plastron. And the other interesting thing about this turtle is it has got flaps. You can see over here. Whenever I touch its feet, it hides inside. That is, it has got flap. So it has a unique characteristics. Well, many of the turtles, they cannot hide their forelimbs inside their shell. So it has got flaps. So it is called flap shell, you can say. And the interesting, you can see, generally, while handling this turtle, generally they don't try to bite or do some kind of harm, but sometimes you can see here it secretes yellowish substance. That is its peculiar behavior. We can say that it is anti-predator behavior. That is to escape from predator. You can see over there it secretes yellowish substance, which is a bit type of a kind of irritating substance. So it's a adult female. It's listed in. It is also threatened. It is categorized as vulnerable in IUCN red list. So it's beautiful. It is omnivorous. Previously, it used to occur in all the Tarai belt, in most of the wetlands, in paddy fields, even in the canals. But now, due to its habitat loss, and many people, or some people, even many people, they catch it. Some consume it. Some even keep them as pet. So it is threatened. Now its population is decreasing a lot. Previously, it used to be found in many places in the Tarai belt. Basically, this very species, previously, almost 10 years ago, I had done a survey. And while rescuing the turtles, 80% of the people, they want to consume it. But now, people know turtles are conserved, or it's protected by law. So generally, they hand over it to us. It's interesting. It's aquatic turtle. We can see its limbs. It has webbing. No, there are lots of webbing. So in Nepali, many people call it putali, putali kachua, because of its very beautiful. Yeah, like butterfly, it's very beautiful, and its yellow spot looks really beautiful, and it can withdraw its neck is very long, and its nose. You can see its nose is a little bit elongated. It's called proboscis. It's very ancient creature. As per some scientists claimed claimer in many literatures, they have written these very turtles, it has existed in Earth for more than 220 million years ago. So it's very ancient creature. And interestingly, this very turtle, its morphology has not changed a lot. It's almost similar to what was found more than 2 million years ago, and almost its morphology is almost similar. But due to human activities and all, habitat loss, and due to human activities, now its population is degrading a lot. So that's why we need to protect it. It's a kind of a kind of pride to become his student, because I worked with him for a very long time, almost for more than 25 years, 26 years, almost more than just almost 25 years. I have worked under him. So Professor Khambu, this very center, it's established as per his idea, because when he was doing PhD in early 2000s, he surveyed all this area. He surveyed not only turtles but also all the reptiles and amphibians. And during his fieldwork, he find out this very lake. It's called Budoholi, but now people call it Bhimsen Pokhari. But its original name is Budoholi. This Budoholi was also a nice habitat for turtles. And even if we ask to the old people, old inhabitant of this very area, they say they used to kill very large size of turtles. Even this tortoise was also found, but in that wetland, especially the large Nilsonia species used to occur in this place. And after consuming its flesh its shell is hard, so that shell it does not, since it is made up of it is made up of hard shell, is very hard, and it does not decay easily. So they used to use that shell as a feeding bowl for cattle. So we can imagine how large turtles used to occur in this place. So he imagined this very site or this area can also be developed as a turtle conservation center. So he talked with the Germany organization, that Arco Nepal, and he even discussed with this local organization, and he initiated this organization in 2012. Now we are working under his legacy. So it feels very kind of privileged or kind of pride to work under him. And regarding that nomenclature in his name, actually his name is named in a gecko. Gecko means a kind of lizard. Is that very lizard was recently described by his colleagues and students. So he has immensely contributed in herpetofauna study, not only in herpetofauna study, but conservation of herpetofauna in Nepal. And some colleagues and his students have acknowledged him by giving a new gecko name as Cetodactylus khambui. So I think that is the right thing to acknowledge him, I think.
Yeah, this one I would like to thank them, because they knew a little bit my attempt in the field of the herpetofauna, and they might have recognized me. So I'm grateful to them. The new species of the geckos, the Cetodactylus khambui, this name just was given with my name. Then actually this is the ecologically it will be the one of the milestones.
Basically, we are working on educating the people, because many people are not aware. Turtles are also protected animals, and it should be conserved or it should be protected. So many people are not aware. But besides from that, most of the forestry students and biology students who are interested in biodiversity, and particularly who are interested in reptiles, and the inside that who are interested in turtles, it is the suitable place, because it is the very center where you can see 9 or 10 species of turtles in a center, where you can study its even you can study its morphology, its habitat. So most of the most of the researchers or the students who are interested in biodiversity and particularly in reptiles, they come here. And besides from that, many researchers, foreign researchers who are involved in turtle conservation and turtle breeding, they visit our place because we are the largest conservation center in Nepal for turtles. So generally come to exchange for the exchange of ideas, what we are doing and what they are doing. They just basically each and every turtle species, they have their unique habitat. So we try to copy nature. That means, for example, this is land tortoise. This is tortoise, or is called land turtle. It is called elongated tortoise. This entirely lives on land. So, and its natural habitat is salt forest. It is found in Tarai and also in Shivalik region. So what kind of habitat it is required, what kind of habitat or what kind of features, what kind of water body, what kind of elevation is required, which species of fish it is in its natural habitat, we try to plant or we try to create such kind of infrastructure or such type of habitat for these creatures. So it goes the same with aquatic turtles as well. The first thing is still many people are not aware, though we have been working passionately for more than a decade. I would like to inform that we give education program free of cost. If somebody is interested, they need to come in a group, 10 to 20 groups, and just I'll give my time, we'll take to the seminar hall and I give lectures and I'll show them live turtles. But still many people are not aware it is protected.
We have done a practical regarding ex situ conservation, like how the animals will conserve in this area in regard of their natural habitat. This center focus on conservation, rehabilitation and management of turtles.
For my fourth final project, I have chosen a topic, description and translocation of rescued turtle at TRCC. For my final year project, my objective are to observe the turtle that are conserved in TRCC and so to document the morphometric measurement of turtle and to access the water quality and to spread the awareness program.
I'm engaged with the Turtle Rescue and Conservation Center in many ways. Firstly, through the campus, we students from Department of Environment Science, Meiji multiple campus are here for our practical works, field visit, including many topics like the conservation of turtle and community forest and others. In aquatic ecosystem, turtle plays a very great role. It feeds upon the decayed organic matter of aquatic ecosystem and makes aquatic system healthy for other aquatic organisms as well.
TRCC is one of the conservation and rescue center. So conservation of turtle is obviously doing here, and for the purpose of the rescue from throughout in Nepal, there comes the information about if there is abundant turtle or anything that needs help from the TRCC. Experts are always ready for the rescue, and for the conservation program purpose, different awareness programs and different field activities were done on the occasion of different wetland day, conservation days. Programs are also conducted.
So awareness needs to be maintained. And the other thing is, what we have been emphasizing is that though it is protected, but turtles of Nepal are not legally protected like tiger, elephant and all. So people do lots of negligence. They think it's just a turtle. I can keep it as pet. I can consume it. I can do some type of trade. So that's the problem. So we have been emphasizing and we have been reporting. We are giving reports and we are sharing our experience to the forest officials. At least turtles should also be legally protected like other mammals, larger mammals like tigers, like elephants and all. So people will look this very beautiful creature with respect. Otherwise, it's very difficult. We'll create awareness program. We'll teach them. We'll show them. We'll tell them about its ecological importance, even the cultural significance, and then still people exploit this beautiful creature. So that's the major challenge. The other thing I would like to share, since we are a community managed center, our sustenance is also challenged.
The gorgeous temple of Changunarayan holds greater significance among the 4 Narayan temples located in different cardinal points of Kathmandu Valley. It is situated on a magnificent hilltop about 16 kilometers northeast of Kathmandu in the Bhaktapur district. Changunarayan is known for its majestic temple complex, full of magnificent artworks in stone, metal, and wood. As an important heritage site of archaeological and cultural importance, with a history of nearly 1700 years, Changunarayan was designated as UNESCO World Heritage Site in October 1979. By then, it also received the attention of international observers abroad. One of the first substantial epigraphic evidences of Nepalese history was found in the temple premises consecrated by Lichavi King Mandev, dating back to 464 AD. It shows that Changunarayan was already developed as an important sacred place long before his time. There are various myths and legends regarding the origin of Changunarayan. As detailed in the Vansavalis, Changu had already been established as a sacred site around 3rd century AD. The Ichangu inscription of Vijaya Kamdev, dated 1199 AD, informs that the temple was built by the king Haridatta Varma, happened to be 9th generations before Mandev. The time of Haridatta Varma is estimated as early as 325 AD. During Lichavi period, Changunarayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Changu inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing-like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Changunarayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple is of basic Nepalese design with possible emphasis given to masterful ornamentation. The temple may have passed through series of restoration. The present structure was probably constructed in the 17th century. Changunarayan is regarded as one of the masterpieces of Nepalese temple architecture. The older elements have been incorporated during the restorations.
Nepal braces for torrential rain across multiple provinces. Met Department warns of downpours through Friday. PM Balendra Shah meets organic farmers and exporters, orders domestic certification to cut costs and expand exports. Nepal's oldest Tribhuvan University marks 67 years of academic legacy, achievements overshadowed by long-standing reform challenges. Europe's labour demand attracts Nepali workers, migration pattern shifts beyond traditional Gulf destinations. Devastating monsoon floods swamped northeast India, killing nearly 41 people. Pakistan also hit by heavy rain and floods. And host Netherlands defeat Nepal by 6 wickets in ICC Cricket World Cup League 2. Good evening, I'm Suveksha Rajak and this is NTV World News Hour, coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in details. Nepal's weather authorities have warned of heavy to very heavy rainfall across parts of the country over the next 2 decades, raising the risk of floods and landslides. The Department of Hydrology and Meteorology said hilly and mountainous area of Koshi, Bagmati, Gandaki and Karnali provinces are likely to receive the heaviest rainfall, urging residents living near rivers and landslide-prone areas to remain alert. The highest rainfall recorded in the past 24 hours was 97.2 millimeters in Sindhupalchok district, with significant rainfall also reported in Dolakha. Meanwhile, flood and landslide damage has forced the closure of 6 major road sections, while another 11 remain partially open. Road authorities said 33 previously blocked roads have already been reopened after repair work, with heavy machinery deployed to clear debris and restore transport links. Nepal's Prime Minister Balendra Shah has directed government agencies to establish a domestic certification system for organic agricultural products, a move aimed at lowering costs for producers and boosting the country's organic sector. Organic farmers and exporters have long relied on expensive international certification to access overseas markets. During a meeting with representatives of the Organic Association Nepal today, PM Shah also backed proposals to restore government subsidies for organic certification and increase support for compost production. The Prime Minister instructed authorities to tighten regulation of chemical fertilizers and pesticides while encouraging environmentally friendly farming practices. The government said it is also preparing legal measures to remove obstacles to grants for organic exports. Nepal's oldest and largest higher education institution, Tribhuvan University marked its 67th anniversary on Wednesday. Established in 1959, TU has played a major role in producing skilled human resources and contributing to the country's social, economic and administrative development. However, the university has also faced challenges including political interference, outdated curricula, delayed academic schedules and weak research practices. With around 5 lakh students and more than 60,000 staff, the newly appointed leadership has pledged reforms to transform TU into a center of academic excellence. Education Minister Sasmit Pokhrel and Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Bhola Thapa emphasized the need for institutional reform, innovation and improved quality of education. Nepal's foreign employment trend is gradually shifting, with more workers now looking beyond the traditional Gulf destination toward Europe. In the previous fiscal year, nearly 184,000 Nepali received approval to work in European countries, with Romania, Cyprus and Portugal among the preferred destinations. The growing demand comes as many European nations face labor shortages caused by aging populations and declining workforces. However, authorities warn that the rise in overseas employment opportunities has also increased risks of fraud, urging workers to use safe and legal migration channels. Torrential monsoon rains have triggered devastating floods in India's northeastern state of Assam, killing at least 41 people and affecting around 900,000 residents, officials said. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma described the disaster as unprecedented, saying exceptionally heavy rainfall and upstream cloudbursts had inundated more than 1,800 villages. Rescue teams, including the Indian Air Force and National Disaster Response Forces, are continuing relief operations with nearly 30,000 people sheltering in around 150 relief camps. Authorities have also deployed drones and small boats to deliver aid to isolated communities cut off by flood waters. Scientists say climate change and rapid urbanization are making monsoon-related floods and other extreme weather events across South Asia more frequent and severe. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, torrential monsoon rains have triggered severe flooding in Pakistan's eastern city of Lahore, inundating thousands of homes and disrupting daily life for millions of residents. Emergency authorities said the heavy rainfall caused widespread damage, with large parts of the country's second-largest city left underwater. Officials have issued fresh monsoon weather warnings as rescue and drainage operations continue in affected areas. Residents described it as the worst flooding of the season and urged authorities to quickly clear floodwaters and restore essential services. The Netherlands defeated Nepal by 6 wickets in the 8th try series of ICC Men's Cricket World Cup League 2 in Utrecht on Thursday. Chasing a target of 158, the hosts reached 158 for 4 in 44.1 overs with 35 balls to spare. Captain Scott Edwards anchored the chase with an unbeaten 61 off 89 balls, while Noah Kroos remained unbeaten on 34. The pair shared an unbroken 85 runs partnership for the 5th wicket to guide the Netherlands to victory after the host had slipped to 73 for 4. Earlier, Nepal were bowled out for 157 after being sent into bat. The match also saw 2 notable milestones. Scott Edwards became the Netherlands' highest run scorer in one-day internationals, surpassing Max O'Dowd with 2,227 ODI runs. Meanwhile, Nepal's Sandeep Lamichhane registered his 9th duck in ODIs, the most by a Nepali batter, overtaking Kushal Bhurtel's previous record of 8. Now, Tribhuvan University, the country's oldest and largest university, has shaped generations for over 6 decades. But why is it struggling to keep pace today? After the break, we examine the challenge of political interference, mismanagement and academic decline, and explore what reforms are needed to restore TU's legacy. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World News Hour, and it's time for Issue of the Day. Country's first institution providing university education. The Tribhuvan University is celebrating its 67th anniversary. While the university has made significant contribution not only to the country's education sector but also to its social, economic and administrative development, it has also been plagued by persistent problems, particularly due to political interference. Vijeta Bhandari along with Pramila Bhandari brings this report.
Tribhuvan University, Nepal's oldest and largest university, has produced hundreds of thousands of skilled graduates. Despite its important role in the country's development, over the past 2 decades, the university has struggled with weak institutional performance, outdated teaching methodology, and uncertain research environment. The university has also faced criticism for failing to implement its academic calendar, adopt new technologies, update outdated curricula, and provide education that meets current market demands. Political interference has further raised questions about the university's credibility. Although successive chancellors and pro-chancellors have repeatedly pledged to transform the university into a center of excellence, those commitments have largely remained rhetorical. Despite ongoing problems with classes, examinations, and publication of results, Tribhuvan University still enrolls majority of all higher education students in Nepal. Considered one of the world's largest universities in terms of organizational structure and enrollment, the newly appointed vice-chancellor says the institution is in urgent need of reform.
पाठ्यक्रमहरूलाई समय अनुकूल परिमार्जन गरेर बजारसँग सजिलै जोड्न सक्ने विश्व बजारमा आवश्यक भएको नयाँ ज्ञानहरूको सृजना गर्ने र यत्रो भौतिक संरचनाहरू छ यो यति धेरै शिक्षक कर्मचारीहरू हुनुहुन्छ उहाँहरूलाई अझ कसरी राम्रोसँग उहाँहरूको मनोबल बढाएर प्रयोग गर्ने भन्ने कार्यक्रमहरू र योजनाहरू अगाडि बढिरहेको छ।
Minister for Education and Sports Sasmit Pokhrel, who also serves as the university's pro-chancellor, said political interference in the university would be brought to an end.
यसभन्दा अघिसम्म विश्वविद्यालयमा हुने राजनीतिकरण पूर्ण रूपमा हामीले अबको 4 वर्षमा अन्त्य गर्नेछौँ। भागभण्डाको राजनीति हैन, मेरिटोक्रेसीको आधारमा विश्वविद्यालयको टिम अब निर्माण हुनेछ। हामीले उपकुलपतिज्यूलाई पनि भनेका छौँ। अब कहिले पनि राजनीतिक रूपबाट कुनै पनि पोलिटिकल इन्टरभेन्सन कहिले पनि हुँदैन। हामीले राजनीतिक रूपबाट कसैलाई कहाँ राख्ने, कसैलाई के गर्नुपर्ने, कतै सरुवा गर्नुपर्ने, कतै बढुवा गर्नुपर्ने, कतै नियुक्ति गर्नुपर्ने, त्यो कहिले पनि राजनीतिक रूपबाट युनिभर्सिटीमा त्यो दबाव कहिले पनि आउँदैन।
Every new university leadership has introduced ambitious plans for reform. However, effective implementation depends on the cooperation of professors, staff, and students. In a university where protest, office lockouts, and vandalism have often erupted when appointments do not favor particular groups, it remains to be seen how the new leadership will deliver meaningful reform.
One of the largest mass universities in the world, Tribhuvan University marks its 67th establishment day, serving nearly 600,000 students annually in numerous faculties. Institutional progress has been marred of late by mismanagement, politicization and academic stagnation. The university, reflecting 6 decades of not only history but the legacy of the entire country, is synonymous to education. Our report.
Tribhuvan University, established in 1959 and named after then King Tribhuvan Birbikram Shaha, is Nepal's oldest and largest university. Headquartered in Kirtipur, an ancient Newar settlement in the Kathmandu Valley, the university has grown into the country's largest higher education network. Today, TU serves hundreds of thousands of students through its 5 specialized institutes covering agriculture, engineering, engineering, forestry, medicine, and science and technology. Along with 4 faculties in education, humanities and social sciences, law and management, TU is one of the largest mass universities in the world. It also operates 4 research centers, offering academic programs from bachelor's to doctoral level. The university's network is supported by more than 7,900 faculty members, and it accounts for the majority of Nepal's higher education enrollment. TU is the largest in the country in every aspect: students, teachers, academic programs, and affiliated campuses. Over the decades, Tribhuvan University has been the dominant player in Nepal's university education, producing much of Nepal's skilled workforce. Despite its role in Nepal's higher education system, however, Tribhuvan University continues to face challenges related to governance, funding, infrastructure, and academic reform.
Well, we asked the public what should be done to improve the quality of education at Tribhuvan University today. Let's hear their views in our Public Pulse segment.
माथि गर्नको लागि अहिले जुन अब नयाँ टिमहरु आइराख्नु भएको छ, सायद नयाँ नयाँ योजनाहरु ल्याउन सक्नु होला उहाँहरुले विश्वविद्यालय बनाउनको लागि। यहाँ चाहिँ अब विद्यार्थी, शिक्षक, विद्यार्थी र कर्मचारी एकता भएन भने पक्कै पनि विश्वविद्यालय माथि लाग्दैन र नेपाल सरकारले पनि त्रिभुवन विश्वविद्यालयलाई चाहिँ हेर्ने दृष्टिकोण एक नम्बर राख्नै पर्छ।
विश्वविद्यालयमा जुन किसिमले उच्च शिक्षामा अहिले नेपाल सरकारको नै ध्यान आकर्षण नभएको जस्तो र उच्च शिक्षामा एकदमै न्यून बजेट चाहिँ विनियोजन गरिएको छ, यसले गर्दाखेरि विश्वविद्यालयलाई चाहिँ पुरानै अवस्थामा पनि सस्टेन हुनलाई चाहिँ अत्याधिक गाह्रो हुने अवस्था चाहिँ देखिएको छ।
जति नियमहरु बनाउनु पर्ने हो युनिभर्सिटीले बनाइ नदिने, बनाए पनि एउटा नियम तपाईको व्यक्तिको लागि बनाउँछ, त्यो व्यक्तिले लिएर जान्छ, त्यसलाई अप्लाई गर्छ, त्यसपछि त्यो नियम हराउँछ। अनि मैले के सजेस्ट गरेको छु भने जति पनि नियम कानुनहरु बनाएको छ, कार्य समितिबाट कार्यकारीबाट पास गरेको छ, एउटा बुकलेट फर्ममा 5 वर्षको यो टाइममा यो बनाइएको भनेपछि हामीलाई पनि काम गर्न सजिलो। बेरोजु यति छ है, अब कसले कुन हातले कसले कुन निर्णय लिएर आउँछ हामीलाई थाहै हुँदैन के।
अब विश्वविद्यालय सुधारको लागि मेरो दृष्टिकोणमा चाहिँ प्रशासन दुरुस्त हुनु पर्यो अनि आफ्नो शिक्षक कर्मचारीहरूले आफ्नो जिम्मेवारी बोध गर्नु पर्यो। आफ्नो सब्जेक्ट म्याटर अनुसार काम गर्दै एउटा टियुको रिसर्च सेन्टरलाई चाहिँ एउटा थिङ्क ट्याङ्कको रूपमा विकास गर्नु पर्यो।
Nepal's migrant workforce is undergoing a significant shift, with an increasing number of workers choosing Europe over the traditional Gulf destinations. In our cover story, we explore what's driving this changing migration trend and what it means for workers, families, and Nepal's remittance-dependent economy. Welcome back. You're watching NTV World News Hour, and it's time for our cover story. For decades, the Gulf countries were the primary destination for Nepali migrant workers, but recent labor migration trend shows a noticeable shift. More Nepalis are now seeking employment opportunities in Europe. Diksha Vastu with camera person Shiva Pangeni brings this report.
For years, the Gulf countries dominated Nepal's foreign employment market. Even today, around 300 Nepali workers leave for Gulf destinations every day. But labor migration is gradually diversifying. In the last fiscal year 2025-26 alone, 792,187 Nepalis received labor approval to work abroad. Of them, 183,580 headed to European countries, reflecting the growing attraction of the region. Among European destinations, Romania alone received nearly 34,000 Nepali workers, followed by Cyprus and Portugal.
विदेश पठाउँछु भनेर या अरु कुनै बहानामा चाहिँ अनधिकृत रूपमा पासपोर्टहरू राजधानीहरू कब्जा गरेर राख्यो त्यसपछि पैसा लिएर भनेको अनुसार चाहिँ उलाई विदेश पठाएन त्यस्तो उजुरीहरू सुन्ने र त्यसको अनुगमनको विषयमा हेर्ने संस्था अनुगमन शाखा छ र सो अनुगमन शाखाले काम गर्छ र राहत उद्धार शाखाले चाहिँ के गर्छ भन्दाखेरि तपाईको कुनै व्यक्ति चाहिँ विदेश गयो विदेश गइसकेपछि म्यान पावरले चाहिँ पठाएर त्यो अनुसारको त्यो कम्पनीले सेवा सुविधा दिएन सम्झौता अनुसारको काम भएन त्यहाँ आवास भएन खाना बस्नको व्यवस्था भएन त्यस्तो अवस्थामा अर्थात् कुनै अब त्यस्तो अवस्थामा उद्धारै गर्नु पर्यो त्यो व्यक्तिलाई भने त्यस्तो अवस्थामा चाहिँ राहत तथा उद्धार शाखाले त्यो म्यान पावर कम्पनी मार्फत चाहिँ त्यो समस्या समाधान हुन्छ त्यो व्यक्तिलाई उद्धार गर्ने काम र राहत तथा क्षतिपूर्ति दिलाउने काम पनि राहत तथा उद्धार शाखाले गर्छ।
Europe's labor shortage is also creating more opportunities for Nepali workers. As many countries grapple with aging population and shrinking workforce, demand has risen across sectors like construction, manufacturing, transport, hospitality, and care work. According to European Labour Authority, Italy has shortages in 253 occupations, followed by the Netherlands with 195, Bulgaria with 193, Belgium with 184, and Romania with 170. Officials say these opportunities, along with higher wages, better working conditions, and the perceived social status of working in Europe, are making the region an increasingly popular destination for Nepalis.
अलिकति बढी जब अपर्च्युनिटी चाहिँ हुन सक्छ कि भन्ने खोजी पनि छ युवा वर्गमा अनि अर्को विषय भनेको चाहिँ त्यही हो सोसाइटीले हेर्ने दृष्टिकोणमा पनि भर परेको देखिन्छ यस्तो किसिमको ट्रेन्डहरु पनि देख्दै गएको छ अब यो चाहिँ व्यक्तिको इच्छा चाहनामा भर पर्ने विषय हो तर नेपाल सरकारको हकमा चाहिँ हामीले खोज्ने भनेको जुनसुकै मुलुक होस् नेपालदेखि बाहिर गएर काम गर्ने नागरिकहरुको सन्दर्भमा सुरक्षित र चाहिँ एकदम डिसेन्ट वर्कको सन्दर्भमा हामी बढी सचेत हुन्छौं हामीलाई कुन मुलुक भन्दा बढी चाहिँ सुरक्षित नागरिकहरु हाम्रो नेपाली कामदारहरु सम्बन्धित मुलुकमा सुरक्षित हुनुहुन्छ कि हुन्न र उहाँले डिसेन्ट वर्क गर्न पाउनु भएको छ कि छैन भन्ने विषय चाहिँ हाम्रो सन्दर्भमा बढी महत्त्वपूर्ण हुनुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ.
The department issues labor approval through two systems. One, institutional labor approval. It allows workers to travel through licensed recruitment agencies, while second, individual labor approval allows for those who secure employment independently. Currently, institutional approvals are available for 110 countries, while individuals cover 178 countries, including the European countries. Officials say the rising interest in overseas jobs has also increased fraudulent recruitment. More than 35,000 foreign employment fraud cases have already been registered. The department receives between 130 to 150 complaints every day, with most victims being workers who travel through the individual recruitment process rather than licensed manpower agencies. As more Nepalis pursue opportunities beyond the Gulf, authorities must ensure every worker's right to a safe and dignified migration.
Nepal's economy continues to lean heavily on its migrant workforce, despite a slight decline in departures this fiscal year. Remittances remain the lifeline of the nation, financing trade deficit and sustaining household consumption. The trend of choosing European countries has emerged in Nepali migrant workforce market of late, replacing traditionally preferred destinations like Gulf countries.
In the fiscal year 2026-27, more than 792,000 Nepali workers left the country in search of employment abroad. That's a 5.6% drop compared to the previous year, but the numbers remain staggering. In just 1 month, between June and July, over 69,000 workers received a final permit to migrate. The United Arab Emirates topped the list of destinations, welcoming more than 183,000 Nepali workers, followed closely by Malaysia and Qatar, each observing over 132,000 workers. Saudi Arabia remained a major hub with 124,000 departures, while Romania emerged as a growing European destination, attracting nearly 34,000 Nepalese. Men still dominate the migration flow, accounting for nearly 87% of departures, while women make up just 13%, constrained by stricter regulations and limited opportunities. The economic impact is undeniable. In the first 8 months of the last fiscal year, remittances surged past 1.4 trillion Nepali rupees, equivalent to over $10 billion US. The growth, nearly 38% in local currency, financed 132% of Nepal's trade deficit and was more than 7 times larger than total exports. But behind the numbers lie challenges. The majority of workers are unskilled or semi-skilled, leaving them vulnerable to exploitation and low wages. The outflow also risks creating a domestic labor shortage, while geographic imbalances show Tarai districts leading migration, with hill and mountain regions lagging behind. As Nepal celebrates the resilience of its migrant workers, the nation faces a pressing question: how long can the economy depend on labor abroad without creating opportunities at home?
That's the end of cover story. Moving to other details. Nepal is seeking to strengthen its economic diplomacy by calling on honorary consuls to play a greater role in attracting investment, expanding trade and promoting tourism. Addressing the 19th Annual General Meeting and Charter Day of the Honorary Consular Corps Nepal, Foreign Minister Shishir Khanal urged honorary consuls to move beyond traditional diplomatic roles and focus on measurable economic outcomes. The Honorary Consular Corps Nepal, known as HCCN, represents consuls and consul generals serving foreign nations that do not have resident embassies in Nepal. Foreign Minister Khanal said these representatives can serve as key bridges between Nepal and the international community by using their business networks and local market knowledge to promote investment, technology transfer, education and cultural exchanges. He said Nepal's foreign policy is increasingly focused on economic transformation, attracting foreign direct investment, expanding global markets and creating opportunities for its citizens. The government also pledged to review existing rules and facilities for honorary consuls to make their work more effective and aligned with international practices. Moving on, Nepal's government says it is preparing policy measures to recognize the country's film sector as an official industry. Information and Communications Minister Dr. Bikram Thibilsina made the announcement during discussions with filmmakers, saying cinema should be developed not only as entertainment but also as a creative and economic sector. Filmmakers highlighted challenges including investment protection, high production costs, limited international market access and the need for industry-friendly policies. The minister said the government will coordinate with relevant ministers to create legal and financial frameworks, including possible incentives and easier access to loans for filmmakers. Nepal today observed the 48th Memorial Day of Communist Party of Nepal founder Pushpa Lal Shrestha with commemorative programs across the country. Founded in 1949, Pushpa Lal played a key role in Nepal's communist movement and translated Marx and Engels' Communist Manifesto into Nepali. He is remembered as a key architect of Nepal's leftist movement. Political leaders pay tribute to Pushpa Lal's contribution to Nepal's communist movement, political ideology and organizational development. CPN-UML Chair KP Sharma Oli has said political parties have played the leading role in establishing people's rights and bringing democratic change in Nepal. Oli argued that political parties possess the ability to adapt to changing times and continue to rise even during difficult circumstances.
दलहरु एकताबद्ध हुन जरुरी छ आन्तरिक रूपमा पार्टी सुदृढ एकतामा जान जरुरी छ र नेकपा एमाले एकताबद्ध छ एकताबद्ध रहन्छ म अरूलाई पनि सुझाव दिन चाहन्छु वामपन्थी प्रगतिशील वा लोकतान्त्रिक पार्टीहरूलाई शक्तिहरूलाई एकताबद्ध भएर अगाडि बढ्नु।
Meanwhile, CPN Coordinator Pushpa Kamal Dahal has said Nepal has achieved significant progress in economic, social and human development after entering into a federal democratic republic system. Addressing a program organized by the Pushpalal Memorial Foundation in Kirtipur on 48th Memorial Day of Communist leader Pushpalal Shrestha, Dahal emphasized protecting the achievements of the republic.
उत्पीडित वर्ग समुदायले प्राप्त गरेका हक अधिकार र उपलब्धिमाथि प्रहार गरिँदैछ र त्यसलाई फेरि एकचोटि निरङ्कुशतातिर अराजकतातिर अव्यवस्थातिर लाने कोसिस भइरहेको छ र त्यस्तो बेलामा हामीले पुष्पलालको यो स्मृति दिवस मनाउँदै छौं। त्यसकारण कमरेडहरु हामी सबैले एकचोटि फेरि संकल्प लिनुपर्ने भएको छ र हामीले कहाँनिर चुक्यौं भन्ने कुराको पनि गहिरो आत्मसमीक्षा गर्ने समय पनि हो यो।
Nepal says it has brought a recent outbreak of bird flu largely under control after no new infections were detected since July 17th. The virus had spread to 11 districts over the past 4 months, prompting authorities to declare affected areas and step up surveillance. Officials said the last confirmed case was reported in Kathmandu Sundarijal area, with follow-up testing in surrounding locations finding no further spread, while monitoring continues in the Kathmandu Valley and neighboring Kavre district. Authorities say the risk of additional infections is now low. The outbreak had affected commercial poultry farms and raised concerns over the country's poultry industry. A government task force has submitted an interim report recommending immediate and long-term measures to reduce crop damage caused by monkeys and other wild animals in Nepal. The report, presented to Agriculture Minister Geeta Chaudhary, calls for improved compensation for affected farmers, stronger legal and policy reforms, and scientific wildlife management. It also recommends fencing in vulnerable areas, promoting alternative crops, and increasing public awareness to help reduce human-wildlife conflict. The Ministry of Agriculture said it will prepare an action plan based on the report and treat the issue as a national priority because of its impact on farmers' livelihoods, agriculture production, and food security. Nepal's tea exports declined by more than 18% in past fiscal year, affecting one of the country's key agricultural industries. The decline is mainly reported from eastern Nepal, particularly tea-producing areas such as Ilam, Chapa, Panchthar and Dhankuta. According to Mechi Customs Office, Nepal exported 13 million in fact, kilograms of tea worth 3.52 billion rupees in 2025-26, down from 15.3 million kilograms worth 4.16 billion rupees the previous year. Exporters say new requirements introduced by India's tea board disrupted shipments for nearly 3 months, while past attacks have also reduced production. The drop in exports has raised concerns among thousands of farmers, workers and businesses dependent on Nepal's tea sector. Houses built entirely by mud, stones and timber are slowly becoming part of history even in villages now. The structures that not only reflected the local ethnic art and culture but also preserved the environment are slowly being replaced by steel and concrete. Be the renewed consciousness after 2015 earthquake or desire to be modern, the need to preserve the traditional houses is being felt in the central hilly district of Syangja. Subcast Rasta with our correspondent Himal Nepani brings more.
Built entirely by mud, stones and timber and adorned with intricately carved balconies and traditional designs were very common in villages of Nepal's central hilly district of Syangja. Nestled amid green hills, these homes vividly reflected rural Nepali life and the local indigenous culture. However, times have changed. The growing preference of modern concrete buildings over these traditional structures has pushed this artistic heritage to the brink of extinction.
सुरक्षित हुने आशा गरेका छौं त्यसपछि भूकम्प आएको छैन अब भत्किन्न होला भन्ने हामीलाई आशा छ एकदम यस्तो बलियो बनाएर बस्दा पुरानै घरलाई मोडिफाई गरेर बस्दा राम्रो हुन्छ.
On one hand, there is a shortage of skilled artisans capable of carving traditional structures and constructing houses in all architectural styles. On the other hand, public concern over safety increased significantly after the devastating 2015 earthquake. Believing reinforced concrete structures to be more earthquake resistant, local residents have gradually abandoned stone and mud houses in favor of cement and steel pillar constructions.
ती असर देखिएको कारण चाहिँ अब यता पनि बिस्तारै चाहिँ भूकम्पबाट सुरक्षित हुने ती आग लागि लगायत अन्य जोखिमबाट चाहिँ बच्नका लागि चाहिँ यी घरहरू बनेका हुन् अहिलेको चाहिँ यो समय सापेक्ष माग पनि हो।
Experts say houses built with stone and mud are environmentally friendly and beneficial for health. Such homes naturally regulate temperature, keeping interiors warm in winter and cool during the rainy and summer seasons. They stress that the government should introduce clear policies and standards that preserve traditional Nepali architecture while incorporating modern earthquake-resistant technologies. As time changes, the desire for safer housing is natural. However, there is an urgent need for local governments and authorities concerned to formulate policies that protect traditional architecture while ensuring safe and sustainable housing development. With district correspondent Himal Neopani, Sabika Shrestha, NTV World.
International news coming up next. For now, a quick recap of the headlines. Nepal braces for torrential rain across multiple provinces, met department warns of downpours through Friday. Prime Minister Balendra Shah meets organic farmers and exporters, orders domestic certification to cut costs and expand exports. Nepal's oldest Tribhuvan University marks 67 years of academic legacy, achievements overshadowed by long-standing reform challenges. Europe's labour demand attracts Nepali workers, migration pattern shifts beyond traditional Gulf destinations. Devastating monsoon flood swamped northeast India, killing nearly 41 people. Pakistan also hit by heavy rain and floods. And host Netherlands defeat Nepal by 6 wickets in ICC Cricket World Cup League 2. Now in the international front, the death toll from the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and neighboring Uganda has surpassed 1,000 according to health authorities. The outbreak caused by the Bundibugyo strain of the virus has infected nearly 2,500 people in the DRC and prompted the World Health Organization to declare it a public health emergency of international concern. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the outbreak has become the third largest Ebola epidemic on record and is spreading faster than previous outbreaks. While Uganda has discharged its last confirmed Ebola patient and begun the required 42-day countdown to declare the outbreak over, the DRC continues to report new infections and hundreds of patients remain under treatment. Protests in India's capital have intensified over alleged examination paper leaks, with demonstrators expanding their demands to include the resignation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. The movement, which began over exam irregularities, has broadened to highlight concerns about unemployment, opportunities for young people and government accountability. In response, Modi pledged stringent punishment for those involved in leaking exam papers and announced plans to establish fast-track courts to prosecute offenders. He said protecting the future of India's youth was a top priority, but did not address calls for the Education Minister's resignation. Protest organizers have vowed to continue demonstrations until their demands for reforms and accountability are met. Business news lined up next. For now, a short breather.
Global oil prices surged to their highest level in more than a month on Wednesday as escalating military tensions in the Middle East raised concern over energy supply disruptions. Brent crude futures, the global benchmark, climbed to $94.10 per barrel, marking a nearly 16% increase over the past month and the highest level since June 11. The rise came as fighting between the United States and Iran intensified around the Persian Gulf, while threats of a blockade in the Red Sea added further uncertainty to global oil flows. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said American forces would continue attacks if Iran attempted to control shipping traffic, which has declined in recent weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump also warned Iran against targeting vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, threatening further strikes on key infrastructure. The surge in oil prices has raised concerns over renewed inflation pressures and the possibility that central banks may delay interest rate cuts or consider tighter monetary policies. The European Union slaps Google with 2 fines worth 890 million euros, that is $1 billion, in a move that risks raising tensions with the United States. The first fine leveled at the US giant is worth 460 million euros for illegally favoring the company's own services. The second, worth 430 million euros, comes after Google did not allow app developers to show consumers offers free of charge outside of its Google Play Store, according to the European Commission. China has announced plans to develop national zero-carbon factories and zero-carbon computer facilities as part of its effort to reduce industrial emissions. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology issued a circular on Wednesday outlining plans to select manufacturing enterprises and computing facilities for the initiative. Eligible companies must have clear construction goals, implementation plans, and meet target on carbon emissions, non-fossil energy use, and verified clean electricity consumption. The ministry said it will support the growth of a zero-carbon industrial ecosystem through technology development, standards, energy solutions, and financial support. China plans to begin selecting a group of zero-carbon factories from 2026, creating benchmarks for wider adoption across industries. The initiative will initially focus on sectors such as automobiles, lithium batteries, photovoltaics, electronics, and computing facilities before expanding to energy-intensive industries by 2030.
Time now for the sports update. Nepal has been defeated by Sri Lanka today's match of the Men's Central Asian Volleyball Association Kava Championship. This is Nepal's second consecutive drubbing in the tournament. In the first game yesterday, Nepal was defeated by Kazakhstan in sets of 3-2. In a match held today at the Liaquat Gymnasium in Islamabad, Pakistan, Nepal was defeated by Sri Lanka 3-2 in sets. Sri Lanka won the first set 25-18, then Nepal took the next 2 sets, winning the second set 25-21 and the third set 25-19. Sri Lanka grabbed the fourth set 25-21. In the final set, Sri Lanka also won 15-11 to win the match. Nepal will now play their third match on Friday against the host Pakistan. After the single round-robin league, the top 4 teams will enter the semi-finals. The tournament includes the host Pakistan along with Nepal, Kazakhstan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Uzbekistan. Now to the weather updates, first from Nepal and then across the world. And before we wrap up, here's the reminder of our top stories. Nepal braces for torrential rain across multiple provinces, Met Department warns of downpours through Friday. Prime Minister Balendra Shah meets organic farmers and exporters, orders domestic certification to cut costs and expand exports. Nepal's oldest Tribhuvan University marks 67 years of academic legacy, achievements overshadowed by long-standing reform challenges. Europe's labour demand attracts Nepali workers, migration pattern shifts beyond traditional Gulf destinations. Devastating monsoon floods swamped northeast India, killing nearly 41 people. Pakistan also hit by heavy rain and floods. And host Netherlands defeat Nepal by 6 wickets in ICC Cricket World Cup League 2. That's it for this edition of NTV World News Hour. Do join us throughout social media and get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Suviksha Raj again. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.